What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. Making a turn on this week already. Appreciate you tuning in. Wherever, however you're tuning in. Got a couple of radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. You can also stream us online, sportstalk1051.com. Video streams up and rolling, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, all those good places over there. Your Alexa devices, just say, yo, Alexa, play WAYY. What up, everybody? How you doing on this Wednesday morning? What do we got on our game plan for us? Brew Crew picking up another win, securing another series win. 7-2 victory last night against the Braves. Brewers now sitting 69-44 on the season. Freddie Peralta picking up his 13th win of the season, although it was kind of a typical Freddie grinded out game, as he had 108 pitches. 108 pitches through 5 innings. But he got his 13th win, which is tied for the major league lead so far this season. 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 Ks, giving up that home run. But yeah, 4 runs in the third for the Brewers to set the tone a little bit there, and Braves not able to come back from that. Got Collins with a triple. The reigning National League Rookie of the Year, Collins, continuing to play incredibly well with a couple of hits last night. Joey Ortiz actually adding a couple of hits too. Hey, don't look now, but he's got his average up to 220. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. So, but the Brewers will try to go for another sweep later on tonight. And even though it is the final game of the series and kind of a getaway day, it's going to be a night game. 6:15 first pitch for the Brewers Braves. We get Jose Quintana on the mound. Brewers, though, setting another franchise mark last night. We've got the best. Brewers setting their best 60-game stretch in club history. 44-16 in their last 60 games. That's the best 60-game stretch in franchise history. And thanks to the Reds for taking down the Cubs again, the Brewers now have a 4-game lead in the division with less than 50 to go. How about that? How about that? Brewers could be the first team. If they win tonight, could be the first team to 70 wins on the season. They're right now 3 games ahead of the Blue Jays for the best record in all of Major League Baseball. 3.5 games above the Dodgers for the best record in the National League. Things are just a humming right now for the Brewers. What's the secret? What's how are they doing this? Don't ask Pat Murphy. He's was asked about it again yesterday. People always around the game don't believe in us, but for some reason we've been doing a great job. That was actually from Freddie Peralta, excuse me. Doing a great job. It's something special that we have. And then Pat Murphy, a little bit later on, kind of said too, he's like, to say I know how our environment affects people, I have no idea. I really don't. And I don't want to know. I don't want it evaluated. I just want to keep trying to make the environment healthy and good and better and authentic. So, man, it's easy to maybe kind of point the finger when things are going bad and point the finger at what's up and who's at fault in that. But when things are going really good here for the Brewers, you can kind of just point at a bunch of different things to give them credit. It's Pat Murphy. It's the front office. It's players rising to the challenge and executing. Brewers giving these guys like Andrew Vaughn, Quinn Priester, these guys opportunities and chances to go out there and perform. Isaac Collins. And a credit to the players, they're taking advantage of it. They're taking advantage of it and running with it. Pat Murphy also saying they're hungry. They play hard. We try to create whatever we can create. I feel like we're always hanging on the cliff. You know what I mean? Risk isn't a word we worry about. We're not trying to ever play safe. We just want to go for it. And I think they've kind of bought in. He also said, you really have to be disciplined right now more than ever before. I love this team. I love who they are, but you have to play the game a certain way. And you can't assume that everything's going to go our way going forward. You're going to have some bumps in the road, but you have 49 games in the regular season left to play. If we take care of business there, then we'll have another season. And he's exactly right. Kind of what we've been saying how many times now? You kind of just have to, you can't rest on your laurels. You are being the chasee now. You're the one being chased. You got the target on your back. Everybody, literally everybody across Major League Baseball, not just the National League, not just in your division, but across Major League Baseball is chasing you. And you got to take it by game approach. But the Brewers are in a envious position for a lot of teams. They control their destiny. They control what they want to do, where they want to go. They don't need help in standings to try to, like, oh boy, we need so-and-so to beat this team a few times just so we can maybe try to climb up there. No. The Brewers are in a position that every team wants to be in when we get into the final stretch runs, to be able to control your own destiny. And the Brewers right now continue to do that. They have to continue to play with this mindset, this hunger, however we want to describe it. And so far, they've been able to do it. Now, can they do it for 49 more regular season games, but also a few more games into, hopefully, the postseason? A little bit more than a few games. We'd like to make them, we'd like to have them make a deep run into the postseason here. So, but we'll recap last night's game and look ahead to the series finale tonight with Jose Quintana on the mound. We're going to do a little inside the trading room coming up at 6:40 this morning. I know we usually do it on Fridays and such, but I'm going to be out. So Dr. Crow kind enough to join us a little bit earlier, and he'll be hopping on at 6:40 this morning because I do want to talk to him about Sal Frelick's knee issue. That's kind of been bothering him. Now, it doesn't sound like it's anything serious, but you hear this M word, and I start to get a little bit nervous now based off recent history, and that's meniscus. And that's kind of been what's going on. Well, that was what Nate Hobbs just had surgery for. And you go back to like David Bakhtiari's injury, when career-ending injury essentially now is, meniscus kind of was part of the issues with that. So, but plenty to catch up on with Dr. Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for our little inside the training room. And speaking of a little green and gold, Packers returning to practice yesterday, and that included Quay Walker finally getting into some 11-on-11s. He had been practicing for the last few days here, but he returned to team drills. And we'll go over some of the other stuff that popped up at practice and that. But Quay Walker also talked a little bit to the media afterwards. Talked about his ankle surgery and talked about maybe some of his contract situation. So we'll touch on that coming up a little bit later on here as well. But that's not the biggest stuff in the NFL. This is kind of crazy. ESPN and the National Football League announced yesterday a non-binding agreement under which ESPN will acquire NFL Network and certain other media assets owned and controlled by the NFL, including the Red Zone channel and NFL Fantasy. So, yeah, that's kind of a big potential merger here. So, Packers released their first depth chart of the season. Again, don't really read too much into it at this point. Even Matt LaFleur is like, yeah, whatever. Don't take it for what it's worth. I do think one thing that was kind of interesting though at practice yesterday, when Quay Walker was in, when he returned, that sounds like their first base was Walker, Cooper, and Simmons, and then Isaiah McDuffie came in. So I don't know, maybe nothing to do about nothing, but I thought it was kind of interesting, at least at this point. So we'll go over a little Green Bay stuff this morning. We got stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. All right, send us yours. Send us your picks. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down. Send those to us via that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912. So that's your game plan for this morning. Let's pitter patter and let's get at her, shall we? I want to hear from you, though, this morning, right away, Brewers fans. What else can we say about this team, man? They just continue to roll, continue to stack up the W's. And here we are, another series win and another chance for the Crew to have a sweep, to go for another sweep. How about that? Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at across Major League Baseball here, too. Brewers are the only team right now, only team with over a 600 winning percentage. They're right now at 611. Okay. Toronto, 583. That's next up. Dodgers, 579. Cubs, 575. Brewers increasing their run differentials to a plus 126. Remember, how they began the season against the Yankees, it was like minus 30-something. Brewers tops in Major League Baseball. Can this style of play, can this maybe old school style of play, can the Brewers keep it going here? Can it work when it gets to the postseason? Where's your confidence level in this team, maybe compared to other teams in the past, as we enter the final couple months here of the season, the last 50 games, under 50 games now? Sky high? Still maybe a little concerned? I mean, holy moly. What a fantastic ride it's been, and hopefully it continues to go here. Let's jump right into it. We'll take our first break, and then we got the leadoff coming up. We'll talk some Brewers. Another win, another good night for Isaac Collins, making a case for Rookie of the Year. Let's talk some Brew Crew coming up after these few words. Mark it on your calendars for this Saturday, August 9th. Get the car show at our good friends Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire, to be exact, 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire. From 12 to 6 p.m., race cars, street cars, classic cars, tractors, any car you want to show, we want to show, or they want to show it. So vendor and information boost, welcome to. Just give Mike or Sarah at Mike's Star Market a call, 715-552-3842 to reserve your spots. All right, so that's coming up again this Saturday. If you don't have a car and you just want to check them out, come on over. All right, Saturday, August 9th, 12 to 6 p.m. All right, let's get things rolling here this morning. Brew Crew picking up another win last night. Goodness gracious, this team. What else can we say about this Brewers team that we haven't already said for how many weeks now? Major League best, 69 wins. One win away from being the first team to hit 70 wins so far this season. And thanks to the Reds for defeating the Cubs yesterday, Brewers now have a 4-game lead in the division. Things are just rolling right now for the Crew. In that 7-2 win last night, Freddie Peralta in a kind of a typical Freddie Peralta start. Shorter innings, a lot of pitches, just grinding through to get 5 innings, for crying out loud. 108 pitches through 5 innings. I don't need to do the math for you. You guys already know that averages a little over 20 per inning. But he did get the win, improves to 13-5, tied for the most wins in Major League Baseball. And then Isaac Collins, with Profar misplaying that fly ball left field, was able to hit a triple and collecting 2 hits last night and a couple RBIs as well. But he continues to make his case for National League Rookie of the Year. Heck, even Joey Ortiz got in the hitting ways, collecting a couple hits. He's actually, in his last 26 at-bats, Joey Ortiz is hitting .346. Not to be kind of a Debbie Downer in that, but I feel like we've gone through this with Joey Ortiz before. Really bad to begin the season, and he was really good, and slowed down again, back to being pretty solid again. I know he's changed his stance a little bit in the box and such, and guys have done that throughout how many years when they're going through a little bit of slumps, a little bit of adjustment and such, try to find something to get going here a little bit. But he does have his batting average up to a 220 on the season, so got that going for us, which is nice, I guess. But nonetheless, he is playing well, so you got to give him credit to where credit's due right now. But picking up that 7-2 victory last night, the Brewers at least secure another series win, and they can go for another sweep tonight, 6:15, with Jose Quintana on the mound. It'll be a little difficult. He's got Strider going for the Braves here, but with this Brewers offense, who knows, right? Who knows? Got Andrew Vaughn that still continues to be an RBI machine for the Crew. He had that 4-run third inning that just kind of already set the tone, and Braves weren't able to do anything after that. I mean, they did put up a run with a solo shot in the fourth, but other than that, not a whole lot of production offensively for the Braves. So what's the secret? Everybody probably wants to know across Major League Baseball, because let's be honest with ourselves. Brewers aren't supposed to be doing this. They're not supposed to be the best team in Major League Baseball. They're not supposed to be 4 games ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central. They're not supposed to be the best team in run differential in Major League Baseball. They're not supposed to be on the verge of being the first team with 70 wins on the season. So what is going on? People want to know, what's the secret sauce? What's the dealio here for the Crew? Don't ask Pat Murphy, because he doesn't really know either. This was a kind of a cool write-up from Adam McCulvey on Brewers.com. The sports writers and broadcasters come seeking answers from the bard of Brewers baseball in Los Angeles and Seattle and Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, or wherever manager Pat Murphy's club is about to take the field. Murphy loves nothing more than a good conversation about baseball, so he welcomes them into afternoon media sessions and does his best to put words to how any of this is possible. How are the Brewers doing it with one of baseball's lowest payrolls? After off seasons defined more by departures and arrivals year after year, with multiple rookies in the lineup every night and a staff of pitchers who never fared this well when they wore other uniforms. How does a team that barely pieced together a starting rotation in April and doesn't hit many home runs find itself an MLB best 25 games over 500? To say I know how our environment affects people, I have no idea, said Pat Murphy. I really don't. And I don't want to know. I don't want it evaluated. I just want to keep trying to make the environment healthy and good and better and authentic. They are 23-6 in their last 29 road games, 11-1 in their last 12 with 6 straight wins, and now, since May 25th, are 44-16, a franchise best for a 60-game stretch. What is that secret sauce? What is that mojo? I think if everybody knew, everybody would probably be trying to do it at this point. I think it's multiple things. It's credit to a lot of different people within this organization. It's not just one player or one person. It's credit to the reigning National League Executive of the Year, Matt Arnold, identifying the proper talent. It's a credit to Pat Murphy and his coaching staff for properly utilizing that talent. I mean, Chris Hook, how many times have we talked about pitching coach Chris Hook and the job that he has done with this pitching staff to bring in Quinn Priester, a guy that they brought in, like, we want to get him in our lab and see what we can, kind of maybe remold him and such. And boy, is that thing working. How patient they were and work, even the athletic staff to get Brandon Woodruff back to where he's at. So it's a credit to Pat Murphy. It's a credit to his coaching staff. It's a credit to the training staff. And it's a credit to the players, because you look at these players like an Andrew Vaughn, a Quinn Priester, an Isaac Collins. They got a chance. They got a chance to go out on the field and contribute. And for players at that level, maybe bouncing around, or rookies or fringe players or guys who were struggling for a little bit, you just want an opportunity and you want another chance to prove that you belong as a Major League Baseball player. But when you get that chance, you better run with it and take advantage of it and play incredibly well. And for the most part, these guys have been doing that. Andrew Vaughn, absolutely been doing that. He got a second chance. Quinn Priester, third team. Maybe the first couple teams didn't really use him properly and such, or had different mindsets of him. He got another chance. He embraced what the Brewers wanted him to focus on and what they wanted him to do. Look what he's doing right now. Isaac Collins, rookie, but we didn't really know anything about him. It's like, okay, yep, we need somebody, kind of a utility guy, played some infield. It's like, okay, we're going through some injuries and such. We'll ride it here for a little bit and such, but he got an opportunity and he's been running away with it, and he's been playing incredibly well. And now we're talking about him as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. You got these hungry players who are taking advantage of their opportunities, and they're making the most of it. So it's not just one thing. It's not just one person, or it's not just this certain philosophy. I think it's, you put all of those things that we just mentioned, you put them all in a little little crock pot or a little bit of a stew pot, and you mix it all together, and this is what you got. It all is just clicking and working. Because let's face it too. Luck is involved in sports. To win championships, to win games, to win a bunch of games, you need a little luck at times. You do. And right now, let's face it, Brewers are getting a little lucky to have these performances from an Isaac Collins, from an Andrew Vaughn, from a Quinn Priester. It's a credit to those players, but it's also a little luck too. Let's be real. Let's be honest. You need it. And I'm not trying to degrade it or knock it or anything like that. You need a little bit of luck. Doesn't matter the league, doesn't matter the sport, doesn't matter the team. You need a little bit of luck at times. And this team also has just a boatload of confidence right now. You know, you look at those guys that we just mentioned, the Vaughns, the Priesters, the Collins. The more you play better and the more you continue to stack those games of success and playing at a high level, that confidence is going to continue to grow. That inner confidence, that fire inside is going to continue to grow. How do you harness that confidence the right way, though? So maybe you don't get a little full of yourself or you don't start to read your own headlines and such. You try to keep your eyes on the path. And I think that's a credit to Murphy for keeping those guys with this singular vision, focusing on what's in front of them, taking it by game approach. I think that's a credit to him and his managerial style and his approach of handling this ball club and this team. Again, it's a bunch of things coming together. It's like a well-oiled machine right now. It's a bunch of parts, and it's a bunch of things coming together, and it's working magnificently. And you just hope that this is going to continue to roll. And right now, there hasn't been anything to show us that why couldn't it? Why can't this style work for this year? Why can't it continue to go? It's been working for a long portion of the season right now. Why can't it continue in September and in October in the postseason? With hopefully for a deep run in the postseason. That's why we play the game. We'll find out. We don't know if it will or not, but why can't it? Tell you right now, this is probably, I mean, I know it's like they're the best record in all of Major League Baseball and such, but I still feel like, okay, let's say the Brewers finish with the best record in Major League Baseball at the end of September and they get the top seed in the National League. Okay, let's just say that's going to happen. How many do you think from a national media standpoint, all the talking heads on those TVs, you know, the Alex Rodriguez's, the David Ortiz's, the Derek Jeters, or whoever is going to be on the calls for these games on these networks, and they're making their postseason predictions? How many are actually going to pick the Brewers? Maybe one or two. But when it all comes down to it, you know who they're going to pick. They're going to pick the Dodgers, the Cubs. American League, they may, you know, probably Tigers. Probably throw a little Yankees in there too. Because they've got the big stars. They've got the splashy way of scoring runs and home runs and such. So, but I don't feel like any team, the way this team plays and the style that they play and the way they go about their business and the mindset that they have and the approach that they have, game in and game out, I don't care if I'm the Dodgers or the Phillies, Cubs. I don't want to play Brewers in the postseason. Now, if they continue to go this route and continue to play with this confidence, and let's be real here too, some of those guys from last year's squad probably have a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth from how the playoffs ended. I would hope had a little bit of a taste. Now, don't use that necessarily as the main motivation, but you can kind of be like, yeah, don't want to go through that again. How many times have we heard coaches and players and such after a game or after they lose a championship, like, remember this feeling. Remember this feeling right now and use it as motivation. I'm sure some of those peeps are once we get to that point. But Got Jose Quintana on the mound here tonight for the Crew, looking for the sweep. Be sweet to get be the first team to 70 wins for Major League Baseball. But you're looking at it. You got Spencer Strider going on the mound here for the Braves. He is just 5-8 with a 3.71 ERA. He's coming off of a win against Kansas City back on the 28th, where he went 5 innings, 7 earned runs in that contest. Before that, it was a loss against the Giants, but he did beat the Yankees on the 18th, giving up just 3 hits and no earned runs in that contest. But when you look at Strider so far this year, obviously missed some time due to an injury and such. I mean, he's still an incredibly talented pitcher in that. And, so far, in July, he's 2-2 with a 3.45 ERA. June, he was 3-3 with a 3.60 ERA. Just a couple games in May, end of May there, 0-2 with a 5.00 ERA. It'll be a tough matchup. It'll be a tough one. But, again, this Brewers offense, with the way they're rolling right now, let's go. Not a ton of experience with this Brewers lineup going up against Strider. A lot of Braves players with a lot of experience going up against Quintana. Albies has 3 home runs and 16 career at-bats. He's hitting .500 against him. Olsen's got 24 career at-bats, hitting .250. Azuna's .423 and 26 career at-bats. So a couple of their big hitters, they've had some success over Quintana over the years. But let's get her done. And let's get that sweep before returning home for a big series against the Mets. All right, we got to take a quick break, and then early version of Inside the Training Room with Dr. Crow coming up after these quick words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
At Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, you're more than just a customer. You are a part of the family. From the moment you walk in, their amazing team is dedicated to helping you find the perfect flooring for your home or business. And I speak from experience. We have trusted the team at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire for all of our home projects that included recarpeting the bedrooms and stairs to retiling the downstairs. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, or luxury vinyl planks, they have a wide range of options to fit any style and budget. And when it comes to price, they'll match or beat the competition. Their commitment to outstanding customer service means they're here to guide you through every step, from selection to installation, ensuring you get exactly what you need with no pressure. For quality, value, and a team that treats you like family, visit the family at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They're located at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire.
Warmer weather means more time on your feet. Make sure every step feels great. Whether it's running, walking, or working, proper support matters. The Shoe Doctor carries a wide selection of supportive shoes, custom insoles, and footwear solutions designed for comfort and performance. Stop in to find the right fit for spring and summer activities. The Shoe Doctor, helping feet feel their best season after season. Visit the Shoe Doctor today at 2321 East Claremont Avenue or online at ShoeDoctorEauClaire.com, where comfort starts.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures. Until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Sports Talk 105.1 is your home for the great outdoors. Outdoor reports, outdoor tidbits with the DNR, photos, and more. Visit our outdoor community at sportstalk1051.com.
Want to jump right into it. So we've got an early version of Inside the Training Room, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine with our guy, Dr. Austin Crow. First off, Dr. Austin, appreciate you adjusting your schedule a little bit since I'll be out. But good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Hey, I want to start off. We got a couple of football injuries because it's that time of year with training camp and such. And Nate Hobbs, the Packers corner, who signed a nice contract in the offseason, apparently they're calling it minor knee surgery, and apparently it's to repair, I think, a partially torn meniscus. Now, they say it's a minor surgery, and he could be ready to go by week 1. They said that he probably could have played through it and managed it throughout the season, but they wanted to take care of it right now. But maybe I'm a little gun shy from the whole David Bakhtiari thing, but when I hear meniscus, Austin, I get a little bit nervous. Should we be nervous, or do you think this is maybe potentially a minor issue that it was a good idea to get cleared up right now?
Likely it was a small meniscal tear with probably a little flap that was causing irritation in the knee. Again, nothing that's going to be dangerous or career-threatening, certainly. The big question mark is, was there anything beyond just the meniscus? And the thing we get concerned about is, again, cartilage, the articular cartilage. Is there any involvement there? But in a guy who has no other previous surgeries on the knee, I think the odds of that are pretty low. So hopefully this would be a simple, small meniscus tear. Those often do bounce back very quickly and have really high rates of recovery. So if it is indeed what they're saying it is, expectations are full recovery and quick recovery. Although you're right, sometimes it ends up being a little bit more than they're leading on. And if that's the case, it certainly could be a recurrent issue. But again, this one sounds like it's going to be a very straightforward partial meniscectomy, meaning you're basically just going to trim out just a little bit of the meniscus tissue. Again, quick recovery, and guys do real well.
So staying with meniscus, my favorite baseball player of all time, Sal Frelick, right now for the Brewers, he's been dealing with a knee issue. And I was reading a little bit. It says it goes back to his college days, where he had a meniscus issue back in his college days. Now they're calling it just a little bit of a flare-up and inflammation going on in his knee. But what's something that could be going on that's affecting him to miss some games? And they said, he's not going to be on the injured list or anything like that. It's more of a management thing. But the fact that they mentioned it goes back to his college days and a meniscus injury from his college days, is that just a little bit of a flare-up? Could that be a partially torn thing, or what do you think's going on there?
It's probably going to be one of two things. One would be that there's a meniscus. The previous surgery was a meniscus removal, so again, a meniscectomy. And there's either a small re-tear or something along those lines. That, to me, doesn't sound like the case. If that were the case, they'd probably just scope the knee again and remove the torn flap. That is a little more concerning, where it potentially could be the fact that maybe in college he had a significant portion of the meniscus removed. And once you lose a significant part of your shock absorber, you're a little more predisposed to some cartilage wear. So back to that comment about the articular cartilage. I'm not saying it is, but that storyline is a little more concerning for a problem that could be recurrent. So people who have, again, a very significant meniscal injury, you're not able to repair it, so you have to remove it. You have altered mechanics in the knee, leads to some early wear. That's certainly reading between the lines. So don't get me wrong, it could be something more simple than that. But those are the ones where when you start hearing the words like irritated knee, inflamed knee, that often is a sign that there's an issue going on with the cartilage surface, and that could be a problem. Not necessarily a huge one, but one that can be recurrent, although certainly they can blossom into bigger problems. Sure.
Interesting. This morning, just about a half hour ago, Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network said that, he reported Matthew Stafford is dealing with an aggravated disc and has received an epidural to help him deal with it. The Rams have called him week to week, being cautious, but with plans for him to be ready for week 1. If you're a Rams fan and you hear that, how concerned should you be with your quarterback dealing with an aggravated disc before the season has started?
Very. That has the potential to be a big problem. The big question is what exactly is going on? And I think as far as the actual problem, that's relatively straightforward. So he likely has a small disc herniation in his neck that's going to be pushing on one of the exiting nerve roots, which is what we call a radiculopathy. So that'll be one of the nerve roots, so like C6, C7, whichever one it is. If it's simply pain and irritation, yes, that's annoying. Yes, it's not fun to deal with, but it probably won't affect the function a lot. Now, on the flip side, you get to the point where it can cause weakness. One of the more famous neck issues was Peyton Manning, and that really ended up kind of ending his career. He had a really bad C7 radiculopathy, which affects the triceps. So as you might imagine with a throwing motion, you lose tricep strength, you lose zip off the ball. And if you really think about the end of Peyton Manning's career, his arm strength really went in the toilet, and that was because of that issue. So, I'm not saying it'll go down that exact path, but that is a potential. So, again, if it was simply just pain, he'll deal with it and get through the season. I think that should be pretty straightforward, assuming it doesn't get more severe. If he was dealing with some weakness, the injection may or may not take care of that. And so when you have a problem like that, you're dealing with nerves, you're dealing with potential muscle weakness. And did you say that it's in his throwing arm, or did they not say that?
I guess I didn't see that, but I would assume it wasn't. He's been dealing with like elbow and other arm injuries, I feel like, for the last couple of years too. Could that be all related with this?
Possible. I mean, there are times where we're dealing with shoulder and arm problems, and we didn't really put it together that it's actually coming from the neck. So radiculopathies can present when people come to our clinic saying, "Oh, I have a bad shoulder, bad elbow." And in reality, it's a pinched nerve in the neck causing symptoms down the arm. So that is possible. But to the point of this one, if it is in the throwing arm, definitely more concerning. Non-throwing arm, less of an issue. But sometimes radiculopathies are incredibly painful, and people are like, "Look, I just have to have something to take care of it. The injection doesn't work." Then you're talking about a neck surgery. That'll certainly be season-ending at minimum. So again, definitely something to keep our eyes on. Could be nothing. Not nothing. Could be not a big issue, or it could blossom into something a lot bigger.
Man, and that's got to be. I got to imagine if you're part of the Rams or fans, because the whole offseason ordeal, they didn't know if he was going to be back, and then they signed him to that contract to come back and such. I would imagine they knew something at that time in the offseason that maybe something was going on with that disc or his neck injury or anything.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly are not signing those contracts without doing their due diligence. I mean, those guys get picked over with a fine-tooth comb. So I would suspect that they thought something was going on, but it is possible they thought it was more of a small issue. And maybe it is. I mean, this could be simply a painful neck and arm and not weakness, and that really shouldn't affect function a huge amount. But this, those radiculopathies, they can evolve, right? So just because it presents only with pain doesn't mean it stays that way. That's really, for us, as we're treating these issues, one of the big kind of demarcators is like, is this just pain, or are we dealing with actual weakness in the arm? And once you start this, our level of urgency goes up as far as treatment is concerned.
Last question here for you, Doc. Jackson Cheerio is going to be missing another 2 to 4 weeks because of his strained left hamstring. Now, Pat Murphy said he received treatment with platelet-rich plasma injection. Is that a common thing is that a common treatment for hamstring injuries?
Not really. I mean, there are more and more athletes that are using PRP, which, again, just a quick recap, that's the portion we take the blood, we spin it down, and we separate it into different portions. The portion that we take is called the platelet-rich portion, so platelet-rich plasma. And so it has basically growth factors in it. So think of it like fertilizer for the human body. So it has growth factors we put in there, and basically it's trying to stimulate the healing response. The data on that isn't strong. To my knowledge, there's not a study that says, look, we have a hamstring issue, we inject with PRP, we're going to see it bounce back immediately. But certainly the concept is there, though, right? You take a portion of your blood and you take the healing factors out of it and put it back in the area that's damaged. Certainly makes sense. But those athletes are doing everything they can to get back on the field. So as biology in these injections evolve, like our understanding of like how these PRP or stem cell injections work, I do think we're going to probably see more and more of that. But as always, these are happening on the kind of cutting edge with these athletes because, like I said, they're really doing everything in their power. So is it a mainstream treatment? No, it's not. Is it crazy? No, it's not either. I mean, it certainly makes sense in like a biologic sense, but obviously we'll see if it ends up working or not. It doesn't happen overnight, though. So you don't inject the hamstring and they're better the next day. It is going to be at least a couple week to a month process to see any real gain. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next, let's say, 2 to 4 to 6 weeks.
Interesting. Good stuff. Hey, Dr. Austin, appreciate it as always. And again, big thanks for adjusting your schedule to chat with us a little bit this morning. Have a good rest of your week, bud, and we'll catch up soon, okay?
Absolutely. Enjoy your time off.
Thank you. There you go. Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Good stuff, as always. I always love chatting with Dr. Austin Crow. And reminder, if you ever miss our conversations with Dr. Crow, they are available in podcast form through the Man Cave podcast. All right. So just make sure you're following, subscribing to the Man Cave podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast. Brought to you by our good friends at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. And you can check out our segments with Austin over there. All right, coming up next hour, we'll chat a couple different things here. Hit up this kind of big news surrounding the NFL Network and ESPN and such. So we'll chat a little bit about that and what exactly does it mean and such. So we'll hit that up coming up in the next hour. Don't forget, I want some stock reports too. Whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. You can submit your picks by texting us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. Or hit me up on the socials, facebook.com/Dan Kasper Sports or Instagram. Same thing, Dan Kasper Sports over there too. Or you can also comment on the video streams if you would rather do that. So send those puppies on over. We'll talk a little more Packers trading camp updates from yesterday. Quay Walker returning to 11-on-11 work. What did he have to say yesterday with his kind of first time chatting with the media? He said that he underwent surgery in late May. Said that he had been dealing with the same ankle injury most of last season. But Walker initially did not think surgery would be necessary. Quote saying, "I came back for OTAs and tried to do something. I just knew something ain't feeling right. I didn't want it to just linger on throughout the season. So I was like, I think the smart idea probably go in there and have surgery during OTAs and get it out of the way." So what about a little bit with his contract? Walker says he has no doubt he would be ready for the opener, while Goody has said he would like to re-sign Walker. He was not willing to take on the fifth-year option. Walker saying, quote, "I really got to prove nothing. I just got to prove myself right. Ever since I got drafted, I've been in this situation where people may feel otherwise, but I ain't really quite worried about it. Everything will take care of itself." Matt LaFleur saying, "We know what type of player Quay is and the level that he could play. I thought there was a stretch last season where he was playing some really good football. He was getting more comfortable within our scheme, what we were asking him to do, and he was playing at a high level. So it's obviously been a while since he's played football, so he needs to get back integrated into that. Obviously, the more reps he gets, the more comfortable I think he'll feel and the better he'll play." Also, Matt LaFleur was asked yesterday about preseason playing time for Jordan Love and some of the starters, and of course, of typical Matt LaFleur fashion, was pretty coy about it. Says they're football players. They all better be ready to play. Now, that doesn't mean they will all play. But again, it's Matt LaFleur, and over the years, it's a kind of a typical Matt LaFleur response, right? But we did put up a poll question. All right, our post Glass and Mirror 715 Speaks poll question: how much do you think Jordan Love should play total in these 3 preseason games? So total combined, 48% of you said between the 3 games he should play 3 or more quarters combined. Not 3 or more quarters in one game, but 3 or more quarters combined. 30% of you said 2 quarters. 17% of you said 1 quarter or less. 5% of you said none. No playing time in the preseason. So if you want to vote, you can do that by checking out our Facebook page, Sports Talk 105.1. we'll wrap up the first hour. Good morning, Morgan.
You're looking and sounding better today.
Yeah, getting there.
Shaking it off a little bit.
Yep.
Are you a root beer float guy? It's going to get hot this weekend again, back into the 90s. Was it like when you were a kid, did you do root beer floats? Does Hutsy like them, or is that like old school?
I haven't had one in years, but I remember having them as a kid.
Okay, so there's this whole other alternative menu of things that aren't root beer floats, but you can get like, I guess it's called a purple dinosaur, where you do like grape soda and a creamsicle with orange soda.
That would be good.
Yeah, would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
It was ginger ale, I read. That's
ginger ale and ice cream?
Right.
Yeah.
You don't like that one?
I like ginger ale, but that just doesn't sound good.
And I was reading about an apple one that people do with apple juice or apple cider.
Yuck.
Your face says no.
No.
Well, you used to be a soda drinker.
Yeah, not anymore.
No? What did you cut? All of it?
Yeah.
Not even occasionally?
Mm-mm.
Yikes.
Nope.
Well, we're going to do a little pop quiz here when it comes to, okay, first of all, is it soda or pop?
Soda.
Always?
Yes.
What?
It's soda.
You grew up in the Midwest. It's pop.
That's soda.
It is not.
It's soda.
Okay, fine, if you say so. This is a literal pop quiz. Most widely distributed product on Earth. Take a guess.
So it doesn't have to be soda related?
It doesn't have to be, but obviously, contextually, it is.
Okay, so do I have to be specific in the brand name?
Yes.
Is it Pepsi?
No.
Coke?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, okay, is there a difference? Everybody who's a pop
I can
drinker
tell
is
the difference.
screaming like totally. You
Yeah.
can.
I think I could 100% do a blind taste test and figure out which one is what.
If you had to, okay, you could put yourself
do it.
down. All right. Are you going to put a flag in either side, which is better? Because some people say when you're out to eat and you're like, I'll have a Coke, and they say Pepsi, and then it's like, no, don't offend me.
See, when it's like
or vice
that,
versa.
that doesn't bother me, but there's certain like moments I feel like one is better. So like Christmas time, I remember we still kind of do it, but the Santa Coke bottles,
Yeah.
like I gotta have one of those just
Okay.
because of nostalgia feel. But
So is Mountain Dew and Mellow Yellow totally
different.
same thing?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb, like
Okay, Dr. Pepper's better.
Is it
Yeah.
all the time upside down? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What soda brand recently surpassed Pepsi as the number 3 in the U.S.? So it's Coke, Pepsi, but then there's a new third most popular. It's clear. I'll give you a hint.
It's clear.
It's clear.
Is it that not Sierra Mist, but Stars or whatever?
Pretend you're sick on the couch with
7-Up.
saltines.
7-Up?
Sprite.
Sprite.
Other
Okay.
side of the
All right.
table. Other side of the table. If you would have been a soda fountain operator in the early days, what would you have been called? There was an official title for it. Got fountain soda. You're going to get a little like nice pop. Sit down with your straws. What do you order from?
I have no idea. I don't know. I've got 5 seconds.
They're called a soda jerk. Kind of like you're a sports jerk.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, legit.
Thanks.
Soda jerk.
Appreciate that. it off right now on this Wednesday morning. A big thanks for making us a part of your starts, however you're tuning in and wherever you're tuning in from. Coming up in about an hour, we'll do some stock reports. Whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. You can submit your picks again by hitting us up with text or on the video streams, on the socials, all that fun stuff. So we'll get back to more baseball talk as the Brew Crew will try to go for another sweep later tonight. It is a night game, even though it's the third and final game of the series. So same pitch time, 6:15. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. So if you missed our chat, a quick chat with Dr. Austin Crow for our Inside the Training Room early edition. Usually we're on Fridays, but we're not going to be on Friday this week. So that'll be available in podcast form a little bit later on. We talked a little Sal Frelick, talked a little Nate Hobbs, and a little bit of Jackson Cheerio with him too. So, all right, I want to begin this one. It would be a very good business of sports segment here with the ESPN and NFL network. Not really a merger. It's an acquisition kind of sort of thing, but then NFL gets like 10% equity now. To be all proper, it's a non-binding agreement, so it's not officially, not legally, and all that sort of stuff here. But just how big is this from a sports broadcasting thing that ESPN is buying the NFL network?
I don't
Essentially,
think I've ever heard of anything like this before.
Yeah.
I think it's more speculative. What could come from this as opposed to what's really going to happen. And that I don't know. I mean, there's, of course, the first jokes, and we saw them all on social media. I was like, oh no, Stephen A. Smith's going to do Red Zone. It's going to be terrible. And like, you can already imagine how that would go. No, and the NFL is still producing Red Zone. There's an ESPN part of all of this. I think the biggest part is what all goes on the ESPN app going forward. Now the WWE news that came late yesterday, that makes it. I mean, for those who are interested in WWE, that's going to make it a lot even more worth getting. It's the totality of the NFL content, which is the most popular sports league right now. So you have that more access to more of that. Not everything NFL works. I know that's another common thing to say, is that literally everything NFL. We've seen certain NFL things that are duds too in very recent times too. People are smart enough also to know what they want to watch and what they don't want to watch. But these are popular things that are going to be involved, especially Red Zone. Like I was saying a week or two ago, if I were to ponder getting the ESPN app as a standalone, that makes it more attractive for me to want to get now that I see this. So it's more, honestly, I think it's more a lifeline to ESPN than the NFL. That's the other part of this. I think it shorts up ESPN going long term. Not that this is not a network that was on the verge of shutting down in 5 years, but broadly speaking, being as tied to cable as they are, ultimately a cable channel, that is who they are. They're having some more issues going forward with cord cutting, et cetera, et cetera. So now the NFL buys into that. It provides equity. There's dollars going over. That shores up the network and the broader organization more. So there are concerns, of course. There are the investigative concerns. How will you cover the league, et cetera, et cetera. I hate to throw this out here, but the reality is this is probably going to come up. As Front Office Sports was reporting this morning, we saw this with Paramount Plus and Skydance. Certain president is probably going to throw some conditions on this one, and this could get very political fast. Where is that going to go? We don't know, but that's probably, it's not definitely, but that's probably going to happen. So there's some messiness to this that could still come. Some things that ultimately a few years from now people won't like, but in a basic day-to-day sense of you are doing what I'm doing, I think it makes ESPN that much more central. And the funny thing is, and I forgot about this, Like 8 years ago, ESPN was trying to like unwind its NFL relationship.
Mhm.
Seems absurd to say that. But I mean, the NFL went through a rockier period for various reasons in the 2010s. They're not in a rocky period now. Now you want to be involved with the NFL. I mean, are you more likely to get the ESPN app because of this?
No.
But do you think others will?
I don't know. Like, I'm not big into those type of apps, to be honest with you. So I don't. The only thing I guess I don't know if we know these answers yet, but is like, so is NFL Network going to change? Like, are they just going to combine all their insiders and some people are going to be on the outs? Like, do we have to do a fancy draft of who's the best insider between Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport?
You have like a 9-box of analysts,
right? Yeah, that's the only thing I wonder. Like, is it going to be simulcast programming on ESPN and NFL Network?
Probably so.
Mm.
Because it's duplicative. That's the thing with the NFL Network. It was a cable network that was losing money with the gobs of money coming into the NFL. The cable network was losing money, and these owners are businessmen. They want to make money. So if they see something that's losing money, they're going to try to find some way to stop that. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, you could almost rename NFL Network like ESPN NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not throw all your NFL coverage over there? That's actually not the craziest idea in the world to have dedicated league ESPN channels, ESPN NBA, ESPN. They get back involved. MLB seems good. You might as well do that all the time. And a lot of it's branding, but you could do that, and I think that would be fine. I don't know that you need to have NFL Network and ESPN and ABC coverage of the NFL draft. Now, that seems redundant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of those goes, I think you end up with a simulcast.
Yeah, I know ESPN just announced this morning that, they re-upped with the NFL draft. So,
yeah,
I
mean, it's kind of like the Video Music Awards were in the news yesterday because the nominations just came out. And the big thing this year is that they're going to be on CBS. Broadcast TV for the first time ever. But they've also been simulcast on like the MTV family of networks. And there's been a bunch. Like you can watch it on one of the Nickelodeons and stuff like that. So I think the same thing happens here. You just put it on a whole bunch of platforms. I mean, people should know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the VMAs where the ratings have been dipping. But I think it's more that you come up with more effective synergies, to use a very corporate word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess that to me, I'll be honest with you. I don't know a whole lot about her. What's I'm just curious. The biggest question I have is like, okay, what do the personalities look like? What's the talent look like? Somebody moving on. Is it going to be Schefter and Ian Rappaport as the two main insiders?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of coincidental that Rich Eisen, his radio show is now on ESPN,
mm-hmm.
and obviously he's with NFL Network. So, I mean, if you're just doing one big game day pre-Sunday show simulcast on both of them. Okay, fancy draft. I'd rather have Rich Eisen be the host than Trey Wingo or anybody. Not Trey Wingo, Greenberg.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Rich Eisen. So,
I mean,
I'm curious to see what's the mixture like with all that. Are we going to have another Schefter Mortensen with Schefter and Ian Rappaport sort of thing?
Well, yeah, kind of like we had for a little bit with Shams and Woj.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of that. I would think that ultimately the NFL and ESPN, not that this gets quite to the point of Roger Goodell and Bob Iger getting involved with this, but I would think there'd be folks that say, all right, one of you is going to get this beat. One of you is going to get this beat. You got plenty of stuff to cover. We're not competing here. We get what's going on. Your job security is safe. And one of them may ultimately jump ship and decide to become the main CBS insider or
Mm-hmm.
NBC insider, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then he can become more competitive. But if that's not the case, I think there's enough of a lane for everything
Mm-hmm.
out there. As far as some of the other personalities, like who's your favorite NFL Network personality?
Are we talking insider or just personality overall?
Overall.
Eisen.
So, and he's very much safe.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't be worried about, are you
now, I think the big question is, who do you prefer, a Schefter or a Rappaport?
Yeah. I don't like
Tom Pelissero I like a lot.
Yeah. And I don't think, but that leads to another point. Which of like your other like second tier insiders or NFL Nation reporters, think of like your Kevin Seiferts of the world and your Cody Cronins of the world.
Rob Domofsky.
Right. Bingo. What happens to them? I think they're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think like NFL network personnel really cover that. I think
yeah, that's going to be interesting because I know like they have certain reporters with different regions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stacey Dale is usually kind of like the Chicago Midwest. Tom Pelissero sometimes does like the Vikings because he's based in Minnesota and such. So, but
I could see maybe some losing out, but I think most of them will be fine. And maybe one of those like an attrition sort of thing because people tend to move on from those roles fairly quickly. And if they go, then maybe someone gets slid in and they don't hire someone or promote someone from within, because of course you want to try to find efficiencies where possible. The Stephen A-ness of all of this is the one that's the bright shining light, and I don't know how relevant that is to all of this. Like we were saying, like, is this going to be Stephen A. Smith hijacks Red Zone, and you got a big picture of Stephen A. Smith, and then in a small corner is the actual Red Zone video footage, and he's just going off on the Cowboys for 20 minutes in the middle of the day. That's the stereotypical type of what we worry about. And I don't think that's going to happen.
I really hope not. I hope they don't screw that up. I did see somebody say here, the end of commercial free Red Zone. So,
and that might end up happening. They'll do picture-in-picture stuff. I think ultimately Red Zone stays the same outside of the commercial question. I don't think host-wise. I mean, Scott Hansen's around for a while. So, I know Hansen's getting paid, but I don't know that he would like to suddenly have to make room for a personality who would kind of like to have as much room as possible so quickly into this. Like, well, what did I just get myself into? So I don't think we need to worry about that. I mean, if there's a more tangible concern, I am concerned about the lack of investigative stuff. And I know the average fan doesn't necessarily care. Okay, maybe so, but there's a role for that sort of stuff. We should know about that stuff. And I'm concerned some of that goes away. But there are other folks that are out there. They have this tendency to think that ESPN is the only one that can do this. Well, they've been the biggest one, but there are other, like Pablo Torre was the guy that came up with
Kaler.
That, some of this is independent of ESPN. So there'll be opportunities to investigate stuff going down the road. And it's not like there's a monopoly on every form of news and broadcast. Heck, everything's become so diffused of late that if someone's got a lead on something like a Pablo Torre thing with the NFLPA, it'll get out some way, somehow. Let's remember, when someone gets really big, you want to take them down. That's a tendency in culture. So there'll be plenty of reporters that if they see something that's worth taking down with the NFL, it's worth investigating, they will do that. I don't mean that like they want to take them down, but if it's worth investigating, they'll do it apart from ESPN. But I mean, overall, in a day-to-day fan sense, I think ultimately it's a plus. They combine the fantasy aspects, NFL.com's fantasy, ESPN fantasy, so there's more efficiencies there. So I think ultimately I think it's good. It provides more opportunities.
I wonder if that means Monday Night Football is actually get some better matchups now.
Probably so. I mean, ESPN and the NFL are safe now. There's suspicion there'll be more Super Bowls probably coming to ESPN, but that also means ABC, of course. So I don't think you have to worry about the Super Bowl suddenly becoming a pay thing.
Right.
Still don't. If it's going to go pay at all, it would be some massive switch towards streaming. And then that's when we get to some point that Netflix does a Super Bowl, which I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Never rule it out, but I don't think it's in the next 6-7 years yet. But there's some disconcerting aspects to it, but I think there is some good efficiencies that come out of it. That I keep coming back to efficiencies, but that's why you do mergers. You merge to make things more efficient. That's the core of it. So think of things that are duplicated that are probably not going to be duplicated. And that's the best way to look at what happens with these two. I can think of worse potential mergers too. This one I think is an okay one. I think it's going to be fine.
All right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. We'll talk some more baseball coming up here too. Don't forget to send over your stock reports. So let's switch gears here and chat a little baseball coming up after these few words. At Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, you're more than just a customer. You are a part of the family. From the moment that you walk in, their amazing team is dedicated to helping you find that perfect flooring for your home or business. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, or luxury vinyl planks, they have a wide range of options to fit any style and budget. And when it comes to price, they will match or beat the competition. Their commitment to outstanding customer service means they're here to guide you through every step from selection to installation, ensuring you get exactly what you need with no pressure. For quality, value, and a team that treats you like family, go visit our good friends, Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. All right. Brewers wise going for another series sweep tonight, taking on the Braves. Again, you can listen to the game right here on the radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM. First pitch, 6:15. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior. If the Brewers win, they will be the first team in Major League Baseball to hit 70 wins so far this season. 25 games above 500. Just 49 more games left to go. So they're at 69 wins right now, 49 left to go. Something I kind of keep bringing up every day so far, but they're still on the path here. Are we going to see the Brewers set their season franchise record for wins in a season, which is 96? It happened twice, 2011 and 2018.
I don't think they will.
That means you're talking barely 500 ball throughout the
Oh,
rest.
boy. Gosh. Well, then in that case, well,
Because they just need 27 more wins to match it out of 49.
27. So, okay. So
So
they
they
need
need
27 and
28.
22.
Yeah, so they would need 28 to get 97 wins.
Man, because that would be like, I feel like they've gone through their hot stretch, that they're still a good team. They're worthy of of being a division champion. But also, boy, that's way above what we were expecting. But the Brewers have a tendency to do this here, way exceeding win expectations. So I guess they may end up winning it or getting that record just because they've gotten such a high bar at this point. They can play good baseball and get there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I might be changing my mind on that one.
They have to just go 28 and 22 or 28 and 21, right? Yeah, 28.
That'll be 28 and 22.
Well, there's 49 games left, so can't be 28 and 22.
So if they're at 70 and they got to get to 97,
they're at 69 wins right now.
They got to 28 wins. So they got to go 28 and 21 minimum.
Yep. I could do that. 7 games above 500 easily.
That's not bad. And
I think what helps though too is that the Cubs will continue to push them, even though the Cubs are now 4 games behind them. But still,
yes,
they're still going to get a little bit of that nudge, a little bit of that push.
Yeah. So that helps, having the Dodgers and whomever from the NL
Phillies,
East still
Mets,
looming. Yeah, all of that. So now that I think this were the American League, they may actually coast a little bit, but I don't know that the National League, now that it's revving up a little bit more, but there are other teams that have yet to rev up that you expect to rev up. I'm saying the Dodgers. Now that I think we can finally put the Braves to bed, my expectation all along that was going to happen. I think they're going to do it. They might actually get to like 99.
Can you talk? There's a possibility this Brewers team might hit 100 wins.
I think they don't have to go far to get there.
No,
because if
31 more,
yeah, so that would be
31 and 18.
That's asking a little bit more, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they have to pace themselves that way. I'm also not seeing the part of the Brewers where you go, oh, if this one thing happens, or if this one guy gets cold, like say the Yankees and Aaron Judge, you go, oh, they're going to be in trouble now. They're too diversified.
But the thing is, Jackson Chirio's been out, they still win. You know, these guys have been banged up. Sal Frelick's been out, they're still winning. So I mean,
are you worried that Miz now being out is going to cause that?
No,
not
because
really.
he had a bruise.
Right.
You know,
not really. No,
not really. So I mean, why is that? Why do they continue to win? Is it just the style of baseball that they play? Because yes, Aaron Judge, great hitter and such, but when you take him out of the lineup, you take away that power. does that change a lot of the offensive approach from what the Yankees want to do?
Mhm.
Whereas the Brewers sure seems like they just have this full-on team approach offensive mentality where it's like, all right, you miss a guy, not saying they're not valuable, but they can have a little bit more success with the next man up mentality.
Yeah. That was part of the reviews of the trade deadline, that the Brewers didn't make many moves, but they've done enough so far. It's kind of like they made moves. Like, what more moves do you need to make? And I guess, yeah, technically there are some, but they've addressed a lot of their issues through personnel already this season. You trade because you are clearly lacking. That's the point. You don't trade to make a trade. You make a trade because there is a need. There's not that many hard needs, big needs on the Brewers. So, yeah, they're kind of covered in a lot of areas right now. Their pitching's good. Their bullpen, or I should say their starting pitching's good. Their bullpen's good. Their defense is good. Their offense is pretty
Number one run differential.
Yeah. And we're wondering about that, like, oh, they need a bat. And then they basically shut down the Washington Nationals franchise. Like, what the heck? I'm going to throw this out here, but not to necessarily say, unless you remember this, what this stretch, and I know that was kind of an arbitrary figure, like the best 60-game stretch in Brewers history. Like, again,
44 and 16.
Yeah, and how often do we come up with 60-game stretches? We don't, but okay.
Hey, Sarah Lang tweeted it, so it's legit.
Well, that's a good sign right there.
So, yeah.
Yes. How many other waves of Brewers success concentrated over the course of a few weeks to maybe a couple months can you recall in your lifetime? I mean, and I'll quick throw out some of the older ones, i.e. beginning of the 87 season, 13-0, post Harvey Keene in 82. I don't remember that, but that's when the Brewers got on fire in 82 after Keene came in.
Wasn't there that stretch where they didn't make the playoffs, but they were making it close, and then there was like the Jimmy Nelson injury where they're like they finished a game, but they were like on this tear to get in, sort of thing, and it kind of surprised a lot of people and such. But I mean, overall picture of this team, I don't know if I'm ready to say best team I've ever seen, because let's let the season finish off and such.
Yes.
Most surprising. Yeah, I think so.
I think this is getting close to them. I mean,
Yeah.
and the Brewers have had some even, gosh, last year was even surprising. Like again, it's becoming normal to figure you're being surprised by them. I think it's the caliber of players on the team. It was easy. And I'm going to keep saying this probably several more times as the season goes along. I did not think they were going to make the playoffs. This was going to be probably a bit of an off year. I was figuring, well, maybe the magic's not going to happen. Magic's happening again.
Yeah.
Man, maybe even more so considering the players who are contributing. It's not the bangers like back in, say, like the Braun, Fielder, Weeks era.
Corey Hart, yeah.
You go, okay, these guys are going to. There's not as many bashers in this lineup. So, okay, Isaac Collins has been going off for a while. It's that sort of stuff.
Well, and then you look at the lineup from last night. Caleb Durbin's your leadoff hitter for the first time of the season, and you got, it's just, you look at it, it's like, huh? Where? What?
Who are these guys?
But lately, they still continue to put up those runs. And then I know it's like, years past, we would talk about these Brewers teams like, man, if they got into a 2-0 hole, it was like really hard to get through. Like, you didn't feel like, it was just a couple years ago. They got into a hole, 2-0. Yep, they're not going to get out of it.
Yeah.
But this style of offense, they can, right? Because you're not solely relying on the long ball. You're not so you could be. They're being aggressive. They're forcing defenses to play some really good baseball. I mean, you got random bunts here just to get on base that even from Terang I saw the other day, just this random bunt, and Yelly's even putting down bunts. I mean, they're putting pressure on opposing defenses where this team could be down a couple runs, but we don't have that same feeling where like, oh, yep, game's over with.
Contreras is turning around of late. How confident are you that the bullpen will hold during the playoffs?
I'm fairly confident in it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, you got still, I mean, Trevor McGill is obviously an all-star, and then he 7 pitches for 3 hours the other night, no balls in any of those. Abner Uribe still makes me a little bit nervous at times because I think he gets a little too amped up, for a hold, but there's no question he is awesome. I think You know, you got Nick Mears, who's been there for a long time too. Shelby Miller's going to be a part of this. Shelby Miller just had his rehab start yesterday, and he looked awesome at AAA. So you're having another experienced arm, a part of that bullpen there. And then remember the September call-ups. Maybe a Craig Yoho. You know, I know he just got called up there, but you got him as a possible option as well. So, and then once you get to the postseason, one of those starters is probably going to be coming through the bullpen, right? I mean, so you're going to have that too. So I feel confident in that group.
Yeah, that's what we saw last week. Relievers going all over the place. That's the big premium on that. Because teams know they need to bulk up on relievers. They don't have their players burn themselves out early. What we were talking about before, that tendency of teams earlier in the season that have really good bullpens, they're the ones that if they make the postseason seem to not perform as well.
And the Brewers have a unique bullpen where they're going to have a mixture of guys that could give you multiple innings.
Yeah.
You know, it's the DL Halls, it's the Aaron Ashbys. And let's face it, when Freddie Peralta makes his start, those guys better be ready. I mean, look at last night again, 5 innings, but 108 pitches. I think it's just time to say this is who Freddie Peralta is. He's a guy that's going to get you 5 to 6 innings and 90 to 100 pitches.
Yeah.
He ain't going to get any deeper for you. He's a good pitcher, obviously tied for the most wins in the majors. But when he's out on the mound, you better prepare to have to use your bullpen and a few guys coming out of the bullpen.
All in all, I know the Brewers' postseason history of late is lacking. Well, we haven't seen enough in the Pat Murphy era to really know from his perspective. But they're starting to earn the benefit of the doubt. I trust they're going to figure something out based on what I'm seeing this season. There are enough jams that they've found their way to escape and then dominate a team. I don't know that September Milwaukee Brewers baseball is going to look quite as white hot as early August Brewers baseball and July baseball, but I still feel good enough. Like you'd have to have a lot of these guys suddenly get cold at the same time. But then we get to the question of, does it really matter if Murphy is coaching them and managing them well enough to do the right thing at the right time, that it's not a matter of, is this guy, he's seeing the ball all the time and hitting a home run after? No. Like, can you bunt right now? Because we need the bunt right now, to use one of those examples. I mean, unless you're poor with bunting, I think that might have solved a bit of a problem that you could have going into the postseason. So, yeah, I
wonder if a lot of the offensive output from Isaac Collins and Andrew Vaughn, you know, these guys that we like, who? Because Murphy, I mean, you hear a lot of those guys say, you know, whether they're bunting, a lot of that is their own decisions too. You know, whether they decide to go up there too. Like, we know Murphy empowers his players quite a bit. And you just, you know, because everybody's going to try to like, well, why are you guys winning? How is this possible? Because let's face it, they're not supposed to be this way. They're not supposed to be 69 wins. They're not supposed to be 4 games above the Cubs in the division. They're not supposed to have the best record in Major League Baseball. That's not supposed to happen. So now you got people like, why? How? We got to figure this out. What are you guys doing? And honestly, I think it's just a mixture of a bunch of different things. It's the front office finding players. It's Pat Murphy and his entire coaching staff for the job they're doing for these players. But I also think it's a very powerful thing for players who get second chances, like a Quinn Priester or an Andrew Vaughn, and maybe a first chance to make an impression like an Isaac Collins. It's a credit to those players for taking advantage of that and using that opportunity like, okay, I get another shot, or I get a shot. I'm not going to let it go this time, or I'm not going to let it go. To me, I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's like a well-oiled machine. A lot of the parts are working well right now.
So, and there's still plenty of time to go, but start doing this now. Which team do you least want to face based on their makeup, based on their tendencies?
If I'm the Brewers or just in general?
In the Brewers.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I don't think there's teams that want to face the Brewers right now because
I think all of them are that way right now.
And it's not just because, oh, they're tops. It's easy to say. It's just they're a grinded out, they're not going to go away type of team.
Right. Exactly. They'd be the classic pesty. They'd be the pest.
And I look
except they're also the best right now, too.
I look at that Dodgers series as that example where it was like, there's a couple games like, yeah, it seems like it's Dodgers, but the Brewers just were hanging around. They wouldn't go away, and they ultimately swept them.
It's probably Phillies, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, Padres. At this rate, it almost seems to be separating a bit from the rest.
Honestly, it probably would be Cubs.
I kind of want them to avoid Philadelphia.
I want to see them against Philadelphia again.
It would
And
be nice
we
to
will.
see that.
And we will.
Yeah.
It's coming up here.
Yeah, we got
So,
that actual series coming.
just because, I mean, okay, that was a sweep.
The Jacob Mizorowski revenge series for the Phillies.
You know, it's just I want to. Okay, one of those games, yes, the offense just tore it on, and Quinn Priester still pitched awesome. But I mean, I want to see, I guess, another series, and that's the Express schedule. But we are going to see it at the beginning of, is it September? Yeah, beginning of September, Labor Day. So then maybe that's a better question. But I mean, we've seen the Dodgers twice, and they swept them both.
Yeah,
I don't think that would happen again in the post. That would be awesome. I just want, okay, so we get this Cubs series, 5 games in 4 days in a couple weeks here. If the Brewers make it through that and they're still, let's say, 4 games above the Cubs in that division, how good are you feeling that the Brewers are going to finish this in first place?
I'm quite confident.
Yeah.
I think they got it at that point. Like, I think they're getting in pretty decent position to be at a minimum the number 4 seed, which I know we're already talking wild card. But what if that happens? It's possible maybe the Cubs sweep them. And
but the thing is, Brewers have a really good road record now as of late, too.
That
so
too.
It's like,
so
you know,
that all factors in. Now, the thing with the Phillies, they're balanced and they really upped their relief core.
Yeah.
As I would know with a fair number of players that went over from my favorite team to Philadelphia. Though I can also say, as great as Yohan Duran is, I've watched plenty of times, or at least followed plenty of times, where he got blown up to. Like, he's a good reliever, but there is a fair amount of risk reward with him, feast or famine, to use one of those terms. And if Duran comes into a Phillies-Brewers playoff game, that's where I'm kind of hoping for the Brewers' sake that the Phillies get the 2 seed, so you wouldn't have to worry about them until the LCS.
And LCS.
Yeah, or the national
LCS.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you said ALCS.
Like, wow, quick going back over. I could see a case where Duran comes in, even if it's at Citizens Bank Park and everyone's going nuts because they got the intro from the Twins. All that's happening. And then he goes Kaputski and Collins hits like a 3-run home run in the top of the 9th and the Brewers take the lead. I can totally picture that happening because enough of that happened with Duran with the Twins. Just enough happened that despite his value, despite being an excellent closer, he can have those moments. I guess you could say it's kind of like Devin Williams last year against Pete Alonso. Think that, but with the Phillies and Duran. That scenario is out there, so I would not. If you're a Brewers fan, you're scared of going up against the Phillies potentially. This isn't Mariano Rivera or Dennis Eckersley, Peacock. We're like, we're done. Not quite. After that, I don't know who. I mean, the Mets could get really hot at a certain point, though they haven't been hot of late. But in a general sense, I guess maybe the Cubs because Counsell knows them well enough.
You get that whole rivalry thing too.
Yeah,
that's the other part that
can get weird.
Yeah, especially let's say Brewers end up finishing in first. You get the whole rivalry, like, oh, we got to take, and then the whole Wrigley Field North sort of. It's that I'd just rather avoid altogether.
In a 3-game series, I mean, this is not my prediction, but I could see the Cubs sweeping a best of 5 against Milwaukee in the NLDS. It seems plausible. I would pick the Brewers, but it wouldn't shock me if that happened because suddenly every break goes just the right way. PCA gets hot again and it's tailed off a bit, but it comes at just the right time. Kyle Tucker does Kyle Tucker things. Counsell becomes like the genius manager. Murphy makes like one mistake. Bam, there you go. And suddenly it's a sweep. You could see that happening, but the reverse could happen as well.
Right. Speaking of Devin Williams, John Heyman tweeted this out about 40 minutes ago. Devin Williams is 5.44 Yankees ERA is close to 3 times his career mark of 1.83 in Milwaukee. Can we say, is it official yet that the Brewers won that trade with Caleb Durbin? Just take away the Nestor Cortez, I guess, part of it, and just say Caleb Durbin versus Devin.
Well, I might have gotten at least a little something for Cortez.
Yeah, you kind of got Shelby Miller. So, I mean, Cortez for Montgomery, who's not pitching at all. But then Shelby Miller, who's going to be part of the bullpen. But TBD, Caleb Durbin's top 10, at least top 10
right now.
Of the year.
Yeah. We'll see how the season goes. I mean, again, what if Williams turns it back on again and he's a core part of Yankees World Series championship? Okay, different story then. But as of right now, in early August, definitely the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. They made the right move on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Keen on Matt Arnold. So far, looking good.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, all right. We'll be back. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more, though. More baseball talk. Final call for some stock reports as well. Send those on over with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Mark your calendars for August 17th. That's Sunday, August 17th. It's the VFW Post 305 end of summer celebration going on at the Pavilion Tiki Bar from 11 to 5 p.m. Free admission. They'll have some beverages, food for purchase, as well as games, raffles, and fun for all. And Donna and Andrew, their kitchen manager, will be in the dunk tank. So just for $5 for 3 chances to dunk them in the tank. Come on out and take your aggression out on them. Here's your chance. Plus, live music from Eddie Beavers, 1 to 4 p.m. Again, that's Sunday, August 17th from 11 to 5 p.m. So I know it happened last week and such, but your reaction to your Twins selling off everybody at this point. And then I just saw that earlier this morning, the Braves apparently were really trying to get Byron Buxton, which, I mean, he is from Georgia.
Yes, yeah.
But
he really wants to stay with Minnesota. He said, like, that's the organization that drafted him. He's come up here. He wants to stay. Okay, cool. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's kind of depressing because they get rid of so many. And you see a lot of talk about how Twins fans were the biggest losers. Not even the Twins, it's the Twins fans.
Yeah.
There is a logic to this if this involves ultimately a sale of the team. And I can be somewhat okay with it if that's where this is heading. If this is just a money-saving move purely, and then we get the announcement in 2 months, the Pohlad family has recommitted to the, like, oh, gosh, we're turning into the Colorado Rockies. We're screwed at that point. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think there is going to be a sale, and some of the moves here sure did seem to be the sort of moves you make when you're trying to clear books and make financial things for something that doesn't have to do with baseball, but it has to do with probably transactions. So I'm going to do the Occam's razor thing and say the most likely explanation is this is to help grease the skids on a sale. Though there was like one other, Charlie Walters, I think, had it in one of his columns that a former prospective buyer was like, wow, there's nothing left. They did a terrible job. Like, okay, now I don't know who that prospective buyer was. There'll be enough out there who actually do want to have the team. Eviscerating the bullpen didn't help. Like, it's to the point now where I expected the Twins have a lead in the game. They're not going to keep it. But hey, they've actually won 2 games since then. They had a big lead over Detroit last night. They held it. They won the game. And they do have a fair amount of talent still on that team. I love how Luke Keeschel comes back from that injury. Remember how he was like a sensation for literally, I think it was 6 days. What was his streak of like, was it like a stolen base or something like that? And it was like he tied the rookie record for like your first 5 games in the league. Then he gets injured. He's out for 2 months. Comes back last night, home run, first at bat. Like, okay, like it's not absolute pessimism. I'd rather be a Twins fan than a Rockies fan because I don't know where the Rockies are turning around what they're doing. They're not selling. They're not making moves. I wouldn't be optimistic if I were a Pirates fan. Bob Nutting isn't selling. He's probably going to let Skeens go or sell for, as the saying goes, like 5 cents on the dollar or something like that.
Right.
With the Twins, I see where between a sale and the talent that they do have on the team, and there's still a fair amount there, it can turn around, but it's not going to be immediate. It's not, obviously not this season. I don't think it's next season. I think it's 2027 at the earliest. And beware, is it Aaron Gleeman from The Athletic in his podcast? He has the Gleeman and the Geek one, that podcast. Watch this offseason. Joe Ryan still could get moved. Other player, Buxton's not because, of course, but other Pablo Lopez could get moved. They could be even more stripped down going into 2026. But there's still enough good talent there. You can see where the turnaround is going to come, but it's going to take a little while. So it was sucky seeing constant Twins trade things come through. I was in Oakwood Mall when that happened because my daughter's running around going to Imagination Station in Oakwood Forest. I'm walking along, and I think where was it? I think we were walking into Imagination Station when the Carlos Correa thing hit, and like my jaw drops, like, huh? What? They did it? Like, oh my gosh. But I like that one. The guy they got back was like the last guy that was signed in the Astros organization. He's like he's probably the lowest ranked person among every Astros farm system player was sent over. Just so you could say, well, technically it was a player trade, and the Twins are paying $33 million or $30, but whatever. It's a lot of money. But I think supposedly the Astros were asking for more. It's a salary dump. That's what it is. So there weren't some great moves. I'll come back to this in the stock risers and fallers.
Okay.
There's one other particular aspect to this, but overall, it was a sucky time to be a Twins fan. Like, put it this way: when something like this is breaking into bigger news, when at an event that has nothing to do with sports, you start to hear about it. Because I was a side stage MC at One Fest this past weekend, and the guys in the main stage, both of whom are Minnesotans, one of them said, "Hey, any Twins fans out here?" And I couldn't hear the rest of it, but I went, "Oh my gosh, we're at a Christian music festival bringing up the Twins trade deadline. I'll bet that's what's going on right now, probably." That's when you know something has broken. If I was right about that, it's broken through. And I think it did. There were enough other people with the Facebook friend joking and everything. From an outsider perspective, do the counter for you. Outsider perspective, what did you think?
For the Twins part,
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad I'm not a fan of that team. And again, it's one of my issues that I have with Major League Baseball, because you have a down season. So many teams are so quick to selling off players. Like, it's, how can you at times just get on the bandwagon and be, a fan when all these, like, okay, so I was at obviously Target Field watching the game, and I'm thinking, like, all those player banners, they got taken down. They're not there anymore. We're like, you know what I mean? Like, you're walking around like, oh, the Griffin Jackson, gotta take it down.
Yep.
He ain't there anymore.
It's a lot this time.
Yeah, Carlos Craig, nope, gotta take that down. He ain't there anymore. They're probably gonna have a lot of clearance items in the shop, for player tees and stuff like that. It's like, fans invest a lot of money into these player stuff, and now it's like, they don't even really matter anymore.
It's
because
laundry, but now the laundry doesn't work.
Right. So it's like, kind of made me appreciate a lot of it too, where if you kind of think about it, yes, Brewers-wise, starting pitchers Freddie's probably going to get traded this offseason. But we've had a good run with him. We had a good run with Corbin for a long time. I don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Woodruff and such, but it's like, geez, makes me appreciate, I guess, the Brewers even a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't see them as a fire sale team. The only fire sales I can really remember, maybe you can fill in a gap that one I don't, that maybe the classic, it's maybe happened more recently, and then that tends to be more forgotten than earlier history. But the two I recall consecutive years, the White Sox fire sale of 97. I don't know if you were old enough to remember that one. That was the first summer that I listened to sports talk radio, so that maybe that's why it's a little extra formative. But the White Sox were kind of like, Jack McDowell was on that team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Blackjack.
Yep.
And the White Sox had some they had some playoff potential, and then they bailed. It was maybe one of the most infamous examples of a team that looked like they had a shot, but Ryan Storps was like, nope, fire sale. And then the following year, there was really more of a free agent thing during the offseason as opposed to the trade deadline. The Marlins, post-World Series, the infamous Marlins fire sale, and they gutted their 97 team.
Yep.
But they'd won the World Series.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Mission accomplished.
Yep.
There are other fire sales over time that aren't coming to mind, but this is the biggest one I recall since, and I think, like, numerically, this is what the most number of players are tied for that have gone out of a team. It's one of those stats, something like that. I was thinking, like, on a yearbook, like, what if you got the 2025 Twins yearbook? Like, significant number of players, not the majority, of course, but a significant number didn't finish the season with the team. It's turmoil, that's for sure. I wonder how the Carl and Eloise Pohlad statue's holding up outside Target Field right now.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything yet, so apparently it hasn't been cut down yet, but wait till the first Twins home game. When they come back to Target Field, that'll be interesting.
Right? Oof.
But the thing is, you get like the Luke Keichels, those guys that can suddenly turn into folk heroes. Buxton, well, I know he's got to come back from the IL, but he'll be back fairly soon. That can turn around some short-term sentiment. Doesn't take long.
Nope. So, all right, shot clock's gonna cut us off in 30 seconds, so we'll kick off the next hour with stock risers and stock fallers. Last call if you want to submit any of those, just text us. That's the best way to get those on over to us. So whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling. We'll do that. Plus, I want to talk a little bit about the Savannah Bananas. Get a little bit of a tease right there too. So 2 in, we got one more to go. Got some news updates, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, here we go. Final hour. Kick it off on this Wednesday. We've got Brewers, Braves tonight. Brewers trying to go for the sweep tonight. 6:15, first pitch. Jose Quintana on the mound for the Crew going up against Spencer Strider. So we'll see how that one plays out tonight. We'll get back some more Brewers talk and such. Other baseball talk coming up here as well. But we kick off this hour doing some stock reports. Whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. John says his stock riser is Isaac Collins. Nothing needs to be said that has not already been said about him. My stock falling goes the Yankees. It's great to see them looking like a dumpster fire, losing all of these games. All right, let's start off with stock faller. Whose stock is falling?
Perfect segue from the Twins talk. Derek Falvey, particularly. It'd be easy to say Twins, of course. Derek Falvey, not necessarily because of the moves that were made. I suspect, a lot of people suspect that where there may not have been an edict straight from like one of the poll ads saying, you will sell these players.
Yeah.
It's more a matter of he knows what's going on. Like, all right, I know what I need to do. There's criticism that he probably didn't get as good of a return on really any of these deals. Like they were all from like, okay to really, but we'll see down the road how prospects go. It's more the realization of what's happened with the two big free agent signings in his era, Josh Donaldson and Carlos Correa. Big money, and then partway through the contracts, gets rid of them.
Yeah.
That's not a good track record.
Yeah.
So that you'd think he's safer given that he was promoted to director of baseball operations before the season. It seemed to be one of those insulating moves before potential change in ownership. And maybe it was the other possibility as well. Dave St. Peter was stepping down. Falvey got a chance to move up. It could be that simple, and we'll see what a new owner does anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a good record of bringing in big guys that don't perform that well, and then you got to cut bait. And sure, the poll ads probably demanded, all right, if we're spending this much money for guys that aren't that good, you got to get rid of them. But Falvey was the guy that brought him on. He's done good things in the farm system for sure. He's brought in talented guys, but in the wake of this, I think his position looks more tenuous. And I don't know. This is the first time where I've thought, I don't know that he will survive, even with a new contract, a new owner. Depends on the owner, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see a new owner going, okay, yeah, this is what you've done. You keep getting guys that either underperform or get injured all the time. We're getting a new director of baseball ops, new GM.
Nice.
He's not the GM, but they might put all of that. So I think he's the stock faller.
My stock faller is one Shams from ESPN. He was a very popular target for a Grind My Gears Tuesday yesterday from listeners with his whole, well, nothing's in concrete yet about Giannis's future in Milwaukee. Dude, stock is just completely fallen right now at this, like in terms of like Bucks fans and so, like, okay, get over it. Just
throw it out there.
Stop it. Just stop now. Like, okay, I get it. This is a dead time for the NBA. There is literally nothing going on, right? Maybe you got to throw something out there to make some news and make some points and all that sort of stuff on First Take or whatever it was the other day. But, I mean, come on now. Are we still going to be talking about, oh, maybe Giannis does get traded this year? Are we really doing this? Now, I will say this. If Giannis is really bothered by this, he could just simply say, guys, I'm not going anywhere. Without going on a pod and saying, yeah, I'll probably stay in. Because you throw the one word probably in there, then it's guys like Shams and everybody else said, well, he said probably. That's not a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
There's something still going on. I tend to go with the side that I think Giannis likes screwing around and having fun with people when it comes to like media stuff like this. And it was kind of like what Devontae said a couple years ago, and it actually what ended up being true. But remember the whole him and Rodgers posting the Last Dance thing on Instagram?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
And Devontae's like, yeah, we were all together and we wanted to screw around with people. Ended up being true, but still,
yeah.
I think a lot of these athletes like screwing around with media people.
We're in the era now when that gets way, way, way more out than it used to.
Mm-hmm. And I think they like it comes at the expense of fans. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and I don't know if this is Giannis's idea or his motivation to like kind of mess with Shams because again, I mean, I go back to the tweet. I miss Adrian. Well, anybody else miss Woj?
Yeah.
Kind of, you're connecting some dots here.
Yeah.
And I think he's just having some fun and trying to mess with people. But at the same time, it does come at the expense of fans where they just kind of like, okay, can we just stop this now? Sort of thing.
Right, and he's going to keep his leverage as long as he can.
Right. And I think he's
Why
smart
not?
at doing that. Right.
Yeah.
I think he is. But I will say this. Miles Turner does not go to the Bucks unless he got some reassurance from Giannis.
Yeah.
I don't think Miles Turner comes to the Bucks unless,
because otherwise he's the guy.
right? Unless Giannis said, "Yeah, let's go for it this year," or "Yeah, I'll be here this year," sort of thing.
Yeah.
I struggle to see Turner coming to Milwaukee if Giannis is not there.
There was a part of me that wondered. We've made these conspiratorial guesses so much now that this is the default, even though it almost certainly wasn't the case. But considering the nuttiness of the trade deadline, which sure seemed to be like, someone related it to that Woj tweet from that one year when it was like, oh my gosh, or whatever that was, of how crazy the baseball trade deadline had become that afternoon, which it was, genuinely so. So then when later that night, the, what was it? Which one was it? It wasn't Micah Parsons, but it was the Terry McLaurin trade. Came out, and then Doncic comes like the next day. That news, and their conspiracy me went, all right. Did Roger Goodell and Adam Silver sit down and say, look, we cannot let Major League Baseball dominate even 3 hours? All right, Terry, okay, demand a trade now. Click. Doncic, sign. Click. Take. I mean, it didn't. I mean, no, it didn't. Like, but that's the thing. That's what insiders will do. They want to keep throwing that stuff out there. It's a variation of the thing we criticized a few weeks ago, that screenshot of Get Up from early July assessing the Cowboys' legacy, because it'll get attention. So Shams can go on and talk about Giannis. It'll get attention. Yep. We're a little skewed because we're in Wisconsin, so we can't properly evaluate because we follow the Bucks. But it's a thing, definitely so. So of course he's going to do stuff like that, because it gets more attention, even if this is the quote-unquote dead period of the NBA.
Right.
Not surprised.
Yep. All right, stock riser.
In a related story, the NFL. Actually, I probably would say ESPN more so. The NFL doesn't really need more stock rising, though. I mean, if it's going up, it's going up. Probably in ESPN's case, like we were talking about an hour ago, if anyone was listening, that relating to the whole arrangement, presuming it all goes through, and it almost certainly will, it shores up ESPN all the more. It shores up the NFL more. It probably puts the NFL, this going Mike Florio's cynical hat here, but it probably puts out more good PR for them, less critical stuff for them. It helps them to literally and figuratively own the worldwide leader more. It's all upside for the time being. But it doesn't always feel great to take like the biggest entity and say their stock's going up, but right now their stock's going up. They're in a good spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just be honest, they are in a good spot.
I mean, the easy stock riser is Brewers, Isaac Collins, fill in the blank.
I know this.
Anything.
Should we officially relabel for at least the next 3 weeks the stock riser that doesn't have anything to do with the Brewers?
It might have to be, because that is the easy one. And I'm not knocking anybody who picked that. It's just because
it's kind of true.
It's legit. So I'll go a little bit of a different route. I'm gonna go Matthew Golden, rookie receiver for the Packers, because it seems like in the last couple of days here, we're hearing a lot of positive. I know Graziano and Jeremy Fowler had their mini camp right up, and there was a note in there about Golden, how much the people within the Packers have been impressed with, his mindset, but his attitude to be great, how he's been performing. I didn't get to watch it yet, but Kevin Clark was in Green Bay yesterday, and there's some clips being out there, and he was interviewing Jordan Love, and he asked Jordan Love who's been the most impressive newcomer, and without hesitation, he talked about Matthew Golden. And I know yesterday we were kind of talking about realistic expectations for Matthew Golden and such, but right now I think everything that we're hearing about Matthew Golden has been extremely positive and such, where Yeah, we're probably going to have some super high expectations, right? Whether it's right or wrong for this rookie wide receiver, but all accounts for the first rookie drafted in the first round since Javon Walker seems like all positive news so far. So thumbs up, stock riser for
Yeah.
Matthew Golden.
Don't think we're quite dealing with future Hall of Famer Romeo Dobbs
No.
from some July training camp stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing like what Jordan Love said to Kevin Clark, that bam, Matthew Golden, first thing. Let's keep the expectations in check. But yeah, I think there's some potential there for sure.
I agree. So, all right. I want to take a quick break, but I want to talk a little. So I don't know if you had a chance yesterday. I mentioned it. I didn't get a chance to read it yesterday, but there was a piece on The Athletic and this craze with the Savannah Bananas. Everybody's heard about the Savannah Bananas, right? And so just a little backstory here too. It just the timing worked really well. We were at a tournament last weekend for baseball, and I was talking to a couple of Hudson's teammates. They're 8, 9 years old, and a couple of them. And I asked them like, "What's your favorite baseball team?" And a couple of them said Savannah Bananas. So I was like, "Oh, okay." And anybody who has a youngster in Little League, you probably noticed if you're bat shopping, they have Savannah Banana Little League bats. Savannah Banana Sway. I've seen them, kids using them in games and such. And there was this piece on The Athletic, and pretty much it's about, does Major League Baseball, is there something Major League Baseball can learn from the Savannah Bananas? And we were talking a little bit about that over the weekend. And, there was a couple of adults our age, not fans of Savannah Banana because they're more of the traditional, like their argument was, if I'm going to go watch a baseball game, I want to watch a baseball game. Essentially, they're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Correct.
Right? I mean, they're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
What they are.
So, but the piece on The Athletic said, is there something that MLB can learn from the Savannah Bananas? So I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to get people's gauge. Is there a place for baseball teams like Savannah Bananas in baseball? So I want to talk a little bit about that kind of coming up here, because I've heard both sides. You get, and I think it's an interesting conversation now, I think, because they are selling out major league stadiums. Last year they were in Milwaukee. They sold out right away. It was hard to get tickets for that thing.
Football stadiums.
Right. I mean, this is a thing. It's the rise in the last few years from this has been astronomical. So, and then you're getting former players, joining in and such. So, I want to talk a little bit about that. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. When it comes to car care, car service, you can trust the guys at AJM Automotive Services. Whether it's oil changes, maybe you did a lot of traveling this summer and it's time for an oil change, or maybe you need to replace those tires because of all those traveling times. Maybe you need some new brakes. Whatever the case may be, AJM Automotive can take care of that for you. Plus, their small engine repair place too. I'm going to be getting my lawnmower back here soon, getting ready to mow the lawn again. So big thanks to them for helping out with that. Plus, they do offer towing services too. So if you ever get in that bind, we don't ever want to, but sometimes it does happen. You could trust the team at AJM Automotive to help you out in that area as well. So save this number, 715-835-9523. Again, the number 715-835-9523. Put that in your cell phone. So if you need that oil change, maybe you need to get some new tires or some engine work done, some brakes, or you need that tow, or you need to get that lawnmower fixed up, they can help you out over there. They're located at 1919 Brackett Avenue in Eau Claire. And if you stop on in, I hope they still have the program on the TV too. So when you walk in. So Savannah Bananas.
Mm-hmm.
The Harlem Globetrotter, if you don't know about them, I think this is the best way to describe them, right? They are the Savannah Bananas of Major League Baseball.
Which they say,
or
like,
the Harlem Globetrotters of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and they say, and they're like, who's it? His name. I'm looking in the story. Cole.
From The Athletic? That piece?
Jesse Cole.
Yeah.
Who founded them. Said, we're not the Globetrotters because we have competitive baseball. But
they play a lot of the same teams. So
that's the closest comp.
Right. Yeah. So on one hand, I think it's also fair to say the Harlem Globetrotters are not the Harlem Globetrotters popularity-wise from when they first started, right?
Fair enough.
They're not. I remember as a kid, I think they were the video games. I think I had a video game. I think I still have one on Sega, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
They were on Scooby-Doo, all this stuff. I don't think they're as big as they used to be. But with all that being said, Savannah Bananas are huge right now. And the last few years, they have just gotten bigger. And I know that article talks about, can Major League Baseball learn something from the Savannah Bananas? Popularity, that sort of stuff. They definitely attract younger fans, right? They attract the younger fans. So in turn, that attracts the parents because the adults have to pay for the stuff for the younger kids, right? I mean, you're a dad, I'm a dad.
Right.
We got to get our kids stuff that we're like, why do you like that? But they do. So that's where the money comes from, sort of thing. So let me ask you, one, are you I don't know how much you know about them. I'm sure you've seen clips of their stuff.
Never been to one, but I know of. Yeah.
Right. Pitchers are on stilts pitching, or the ump is breakdancing and all that sort of stuff. Are you a fan of that style? Does Major League Baseball do you think is there anything they can learn from the Savannah Bananas, or is it a separate entity in itself?
Yes, they can learn from it. Baseball, like it doesn't feel cool to be a baseball fan. It's broad brushing to say no kid likes baseball. Obviously, as you know, that's not true. There are plenty of kids that like even Major League Baseball, but it's pretty clear that baseball has become less popular with younger folks. The average age of the baseball fan is well into their 60s now, blah, 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 blah. All of that is true. So, I prefer anything that brings in a younger demographic to keep the sport that is my baseball and football are very close to being my favorite sports. I think baseball is ultimately the one. I don't want to see it fade off. It's not going to die. Like in my lifetime, I'm not going to be. Remember Major League Baseball? But also in terms of how the game has become Major League Baseball has become more predictable, less fun over time. Not that baseball used to be a wild game, but in the 3 true outcomes era, combine that with modeling stuff so perfectly. There's a certain way to pitch. There's a certain way to hit beyond just the analytics. Like you don't have a lot of different styles. There's a certain stance that you have to take. So it's more like video game baseball, but not in a good way. So that's where I don't know what I would think of the Savannah Bananas in like the 1980s. Now, I like all of this energy. And then I see people coming out, and every time I see a sold-out crowd in a baseball, football stadium, I go, dang, baseball's cool. It is, clearly. So there's a way to make it work. You don't want to turn the Savannah Bananas into all of Major League Baseball. Where it's actually giving me a bit of a flashback is from the Harlem Globetrotters, and I don't know that you can necessarily extrapolate one to the other. What I'm about to say is more of a period era, so understand what I'm about to reference. The Breaks of the Game by David Halberstam. I finished the book a few days ago. The book came out in 1981. It's about the 79-80 Portland Trailblazers season, but it deep dives into a lot of other aspects of baseball. By the way, strongly recommend the book. Part of it is his writing style, which is really fascinating. As most know, he was a great author, and it's an all-timer of a book. He's referencing the NBA and culture circa 1979, 80, 81, the dawn of the Bird Magic era, but that's not the crux of it. A lot of it is where the NBA had gotten to at that point. The NBA was not in a good place. Ratings were bad around the time that he was writing. And he's talking about the generations of basketball. And to be blunt, this is what he wrote about. The older, structured, white basketball versus the more free-flowing, showy black basketball. That came up multiple times. People he was interviewing during the course of that season, 1979, 1980, and how that had changed the game and the tensions in that. Not necessarily in a bad way, just like this was what was going on. So extrapolate that to the Harlem Globetrotters. That was showy basketball.
Yeah.
That was fun basketball. A lot of people that initially started basketball, the NBA, was more of a structured offense, structured defense. This is how you shoot. Almost think of how Major League Baseball has evolved around that other way. You bring in the showmanship, and guess what? NBA got more fun. Fast forward a few more years later, suddenly you had the NBA. It's fantastic. Remember, those old enough to remember that.
Yep.
It got more fun. That brought more people to NBA fandom. So whereas you could have read the Breaks of the Game, if you read that and had no other knowledge of the NBA, you probably thought, wow, that league probably flamed out a few years later, right? Nope. It got huge after that. Personalities, flair, all of that. Eventually it didn't become a race thing or anything. It just became what became the sport. In a related story, the Harlem Globetrotters, they're still around. They're not as big, but I don't think they provide something that you weren't getting from other aspects of basketball, college or pro, in the 50s, 60s, a little bit in the 70s, but then it was starting to mix. So today, I think the Savannah Bananas provide something that Major League Baseball is missing that can bring a lot of other people in. It's fun. It's fantastic, if you want to use that phrase. The Showtime Lakers and the dunks of Dominique and Jordan coming into the game in the 80s. Take some of that and then all the fancy stuff from the Harlem Globetrotters, and you water that down a little bit. You put that more into the regular game, not intentionally, but it kind of flows in. It just does culturally. That's a good thing. That makes the premier athletic part of our sports culture better. So I have the 6 lessons here.
So do I. Yeah.
So
fans first is lesson 1, which I don't think this one owners would ever do.
Unfortunately, and that's the thing. For a lot of these, you'd be like, would the owners go for this? Would the owners go for this?
Essentially, it's an internal ticket system for in merchandise and such, where they pay all their own fees and taxes on those items, meaning a $35 ticket is actually $35. But in the last line, it says, yes, it costs Cole, the guy who founded this, money, but he said the decision was a no-brainer. Quote, I'm not trying to make $1 billion. I want 1 billion fans. Well, owners probably want to make $1 billion.
Yeah, they're well established at this point, so they have probably different motivations.
Yep. Lesson 2, I think this one could be something here. I don't know to what extent. Make pregame an event. In Banana Ball, the gates open 2.5 hours before the first pitch, and there's a steady stream of player and fan entertainment that encourages people to get to the ballpark hours before first pitch and potentially buy food and merchandise. Most MLB teams open their gates 90 minutes before night games. Those select games or groups may get in 2 hours early. Most of the time, the home team is done with batting practice by then, and there's very little, if anything, going on other than a video blaring on the Jumbotron. Okay, I could see that one.
Mhm.
A little bit there.
Seems like more of a player issue. Would the players have problems with that? But I
Yeah.
think that might be it's more diffuse.
Right.
I think
Yep.
that could happen.
Lesson 3, market the players better. I attended Saturday's game and was struck with how popular many of the players were. Fans were wearing jerseys with the names on their back that I had never heard of. My 9-year-old nephew waited more than 2 hours at a local Dunkin' Donuts Saturday morning just to meet 2 bananas and 2 firefighters. We've talked about that with certain players in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it, though, is dependent on the player being open to that, too.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably didn't help that Mike Trout
Yeah.
was the best player and also was like, this is not my thing.
Mhm.
Some of it's timing, but some of it's also Major League Baseball notoriously has been bad at marketing players. They're getting better, but there was a while in the 2010s, they sucked at it.
Yeah. Lesson 4, rethink the schedule. This one, I don't know how they would be able to do it either if they want to keep the 162 going here.
Owners.
Yeah. The Bananas don't play Monday through Wednesday. Quote, does playing on a Monday night in April serve our fans? Cole asked. So games are held Thursday through Sunday nights. On this world tour, Banana games were played in warm weather cities like in Arizona and Florida until May. So not going to read everything on there, but again, you would have to sacrifice some games, and you're not going to be doing double headers all the time to make up for it. So
you do day games, stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's the thing we've talked about with the playoffs. This story references it, and this is a thing with the multiple leagues, not having late night playoff games, so the next generation can actually watch the playoffs, the most memorable part of the season.
Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
And yes, it has gotten better.
Yep.
But more of that.
Yep. Lesson 5, get creative with the rules. Blowouts don't keep fans engaged. So Cole tweaked the rules to make sure that the 9th inning would always matter. A team gets an individual point for winning each of the innings 1 through 8, but in the 9th, runs are unlimited. It sounds crazy, but it works, providing more thrilling late game heroics like it did on Saturday. There's also a 2-hour game clock, though contests are often done before then. And I think, isn't there 1-2 where is it in the 9th that if a fan catches the foul ball, it's like an out?
Yeah, something
like that for the home or whatever
Yeah.
team and such. So
Mhm.
also there's a golden batter rule that allows a team to send any hitter to the plate in any spot once per game, which we talked about. Major League Baseball was throwing that idea out there too. So
yeah.
I don't know if they would do the whole win in it. Essentially it is, okay, whoever scores the most runs innings 1 through 8 gets 1 point. So you could score 6 runs in the first inning, but you only get 1 point if you
Can you
outscore 'em.
incentivize that towards something? I mean, I don't want to necessarily make it financial. Like you win $1 million, or that could be a lot of money to go around. And
Yeah.
if you don't have enough money, then who really cares? See, now this goes back to the golden at bat thing. Now that was a radical idea. If you think about it, that would be Bananas-esque. And then, oh my gosh, what are you doing to baseball? And that died pretty fast.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing here? Now, it doesn't have to be an either or. There are more subtle ways to do it. And a lot of this is where we have to praise Ron Manfred. He's made some moves that have made baseball more popular.
Well, maybe one of them too. I'll go back to the All-Star game, how it ended, the home run off. Some people were like, no, but you had players like, hey, we kind of like this sort of thing.
Right.
Fans, for the most part, I think liked it, but then they're like, but I don't want to see it in a regular season.
Right.
Why? So to my question, there would be those fans who said they liked it, but they don't want to see it in a regular season. Why? If you liked it, why not?
Yeah,
because it ruins the integrity of the game. But if you're losing, let's face it, it is a business. And here's my thing: I get it. I don't like to see a lot of rules changed because that's not the game I grew up loving or embracing. But at the same time, I think, especially if you're a business owner or such, you probably know, hey, we got to change some things if we want to stay competitive. We got to
business.
Yes, we got to do stuff. I may not like it. I may not agree with it, but if it proves that, hey, I'm going to make more money or I'm going to get more of this and more fans or whatever the case, more customers, okay, I got to do it.
Well,
and so, yeah, it may tarnish the game you grew up with, but if that's going to draw those 8 and 9-year-olds in, which in turn is, yes, that's who they are marketing, the younger fans. They may not have the money, but mom and dad and grandpa do, and that's where it's coming from. We got to make Johnny Joe happy, and that's where it's going to, it trickles down.
Why
that
you
way.
market to maybe not kids, but why a lot of companies advertise the key 18 to 34 demographic, because you're building your loyal customers for the rest of their lives, they'll keep spending money with you. Business 101. It's what you try to. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of business owners that are listening right now. Like, well, I don't appeal to a 19. Yeah, but like the bigger companies who can do that sort of stuff, they do that to pull them in younger. Plus, is Major League Baseball in the past decade, in the analytics era, is that the game a lot of us grew up with?
No. That's why I like what the Brewers are doing right now, because it does kind of give you a flashback.
And that was not a rule change. The game evolved into something that a lot of people don't like. So if we're changing rules to make it likable, is that a bad thing? Wait, what? So we're supposed to keep it in something we don't like because that's organic. A lot of organic changes that, ideally you want that, but if it went the wrong way, you got to fix it. Otherwise, you start to lose interest.
And I think lesson 6 kind of goes with that a little bit. Remember why you started, and this is that line where you mentioned some readers who have made it this far probably view the Bananas as the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, although that comparison irks Cole, who points out that his players are very competitive on the field and that every night is a different show. And I think this is, if you're an owner, would perk your ears up a little bit. But the Bananas have more than 3 million fans who have submitted information to the team's ticket wait list. If I'm an owner, I'm like, that's money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what should perk your ears. You have 3 million fans on a ticket wait list. What are you doing? I'm opening. I'm like, okay, I want to learn a little bit more. And the timing of everything with the lockout coming up. In 20, I think right now we're all assuming that there is going to be a lockout.
Yeah, we got one more season of baseball for sure. And then winter 2026 into 2027 could get interesting.
Yes. So I don't know how much Major League Baseball could learn. I think there's some things they could learn from it. I think it's not going to be completely Savannah Bennett. You're not going to have.
It's not going to be that exactly.
Yeah, you're not going to have Jacob Mizorowski standing on stilts throwing 100 miles per hour. Although I would love to see that. I would love to see that because that would be funny. Amazing.
A spinally tall pitcher on stilts.
Right. Yeah. So that would be awesome. But there are elements to it that I think they can learn from. And I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, I may not like some of it. I'm like, well, that's not what I grew up with, or that's not what I remember. That's not how I was taught. But I understand from the business side of things that, okay, if you're an owner and let's say, okay, you're a competitive owner, because there are some owners who just don't give a rip. But, you know, if you're looking at it, you at least have to be open-minded to some of this stuff.
Yes.
And I go back to, okay, Mark Murphy in Green Bay. A lot of people are like, oh, they lost this small town feel. They had to. You had to have Title Town.
It's more small town than any other one.
Right.
You get somewhat small town versus no small town. Option A, option B. Sorry, there's not an option C to this. So which one do you want?
Right. They had to do Title Town. And I mean, I know people are like, well, you know, it takes away. It does. I miss tailgating at Kmart, but it's 2025. I understand the day and age we're in.
And you still can be driving along in a 50s era suburb and suddenly there's an NFL stadium. It's still there. That's not going to, they're not going to, no, we're not on the verge of the Packers suddenly requesting, like, seems like the in thing to do right now is to request a retractable roof stadium somewhere. The Packers aren't doing that, okay? They're going to stay at Lambeau. Lambeau, by and large, they'll keep evolving, but by and large, it's still going to be that. But you have to evolve in some ways, of course. And that's what Major League Baseball also needs to do. I fully agree with that. I do find it, and then this is more of a culture thing. Though I think the culture is part of it too, how baseball players react to it. Like it's referenced in the story of how some of the Savannah Bananas are like, do we really want to dance? And then they see the reaction and they got on board with it. But think of like baseball. Maybe I might be going to too much of a black and white example that really isn't. But the enforcement of don't flip the bat, don't show emotion. I'm going back to like the worst of the Braves from about 10 years ago. Remember when they were the unwritten rules enforcers? But that's still a thing in baseball that you don't do that. But then you win a game in the middle of August that doesn't mean too much in the standings, and the players go berserk like they won the World Series. So then it's okay to go nutso over a game.
Yeah. But
you show any emotion during the game, oh my gosh, you have ruined baseball. guys, let's even out the priorities. Is one good? Is the other good? Let's maybe have more celebrating. You're going to celebrate at the end of the game. Celebrate during the game too. More excitement is a good thing. I mean, if you're going to have Gatorade baths at the end of the game, why not have a Gatorade bath during the game? That I'm stretching it, but have more of that and less of the. This is how the game is played. Stentorian. Don't do anything or we're going to bean you next time. Come on. Stop that.
Yeah. Maybe another sport too. I'm just thinking, could golf do a little, like, you know, I'm thinking the Happy Gilmore aspect of it a little bit.
Something like that.
You know, Live, I think, try to do it a little bit with, you know, their designs and such. And I think that's kind of, again, old school, long time, may not like it, but did it attract some? I think it attracted some. And maybe there's a middle ground to that, because I think you ask a lot of sports fans who are not golf fans, they think golf is boring to watch. I'm a golfer, and I will tell you, golf is boring to watch unless it's Tiger Woods. Right now, it's, for me, it's not must-watch TV for me unless Tiger Woods is out there. Why? Because I still have it in my mind, I'm watching 2000 Tiger Woods, who is crushing drives and hitting his what's that low ball? You know what I'm talking about. You know, those ridiculous shots from bad lies, and he's fist pumping and he's jacking up he's chasing his putts down, because that's fun golf.
The irony is it's more fun than it probably was back in like the 90s or 80s. But compared to Tiger,
it's, you know, you have the golf club. That. Now it's like, I miss the Tiger roars.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, guided the right way. You probably also don't want to go like Ryder Cup gets like.
See, I like Ryder Cup style.
But I mean, there's a way to do that. Or the Waste Management Open, where like people are like flat out drunk or something. Like, but there's a right way to get there. Like, okay, something's working with those. We talk about those. So how do you make that work the proper way? And that's the key with a lot of this. There's a way to do it beyond boredom, because that's the way we've done it. It's tradition. Okay, yeah, well, maybe the tradition doesn't work. So, there's something with, again, I think Rob Manfred knows what's going on with this. That if there's a through line in his commissioner tenure, it's trying to find ways to make Major League Baseball have broader appeal. We can criticize a lot of the ways that he's done it, and he's opened himself to criticism for a lot of those. We can also praise a fair amount of them, too. Pitch clock has worked wonders. I know there was criticism, but by and large, I think that is a success. It's a big success, too. He's paying attention to this. He looks at that. Now, again, what do the owners say? Then they go, I don't want any of that. Well, and they're the ones that ultimately run it. But I do wonder with this upcoming CBA, if that allows him to make some extra moves, take advantage of the big one and throw these things in. Of course, salary cap will be the big thing, but then he throws in, well, we're also going to put this in. Oh, you're really going to keep a lockout because of this one thing about the eighth inning? Really? No. And that's how he can put more things in the CBA, eventually get the players to agree. In 2027, I'm being optimistic here, whenever the 2027 season begins, is a more fun type of baseball. Maybe it gets weird. Some things we're not used to watching, but it's more fun. I hope so.
Got a text here, says, why all the changes, just put more baseball on regular television for average fans and especially young kids to be able to follow and watch. Most don't want to pay extra money for TV packages they can't watch most of the time anyway, because of game times. That is what the NFL has done to help grow their stars and the, I don't know what that is, add in the need to watch on Netflix. Well, I feel like that's kind of contradicting a little bit when it says most don't want to pay extra money for TV packages, but you are paying extra money to watch football on Netflix, because if you don't have Netflix, you're watching a little bit.
But there's only so much you can go around too. You prioritize, so you don't want to spend on this package and like Apple TV Plus, so you can watch MLS, for example. I mean, that's another thing. Like, I'm not watching any Minnesota United games. I'm not watching the Loons because they're on Apple TV. I don't have that. I'm not going to. That's not a big priority for me. There are enough of those that, like, this goes back to the off joke of, hey, maybe you could have this thing where they're all in one package, like a cable bundle. How many times have we heard that? But that's a factor. Like, find other ways to do it.
Right. And I think it goes back to, again, it's about the younger fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes to those kids I was talking to all weekend, and the amount of all those kids who told me that the Savannah Bananas were their favorite team, not the Brewers, not the Twins, not the Cubs, this Savannah Bananas team.
Mm-hmm.
That I will tell you right now, they're not on TV as much as the Brewers are.
Mm-mm.
You can find a regular baseball game more than what you could find a Savannah Bananas thing. And it's a credit to the Savannah Bananas again for the marketing that they do. TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or whatever that they're on. The apparel that you could go get, the Little League bats that you could go get that is of a banana on there. And they like watching them play. And a lot of the parents like, yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but my kids like it. They're winning it that way.
Yeah.
And that's what Major League Baseball has to find out. Like, how do we keep those younger fans? What can we learn from that? It's not to say that they got to be exactly like that, but what's going to draw those younger fans? Because let's face it, yes, you are the money spenders, but again, the future is the younger fans. The future is the youth.
Mm-hmm.
You are our future.
But they are.
But they are.
They are. That's the. How do you keep them as baseball fans ultimately? Savannah Bananas are probably, I know they're a relatively recent phenomenon. They're probably permanent, like the Harlem Globetrotters. They're still around.
Mm-hmm.
Globetrotters been around for decades. They will be around for decades. The Savannah Bananas, they probably found the baseball version of that, and they'll be around for decades, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So you can co-opt things without like killing them, but you can take some of those things in. There's a way to do it, and again, this is so odd to say, but I actually trust Rob Manfred to figure out some things. It sounds like confess your unpopular opinion, but I think it's right. I think he's going to try to do that stuff. How effective it is with the owners and the players is a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There are certain cultural things that take a lot more time to turn around, and no commissioner can do that. But there'll be some more rule changes. There'll be some more evolution on this, marketing, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully it's not stuff around the edges. Like, cool, City Connect uniforms are sometimes neat, depending on the team. That's not enough. It's got to be more in the actual game itself.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get people to pay attention for 2.5 hours?
Okay, the NFL. Well, what do they do with those jerseys and such, right?
Yeah.
For a younger fan base.
Uh-huh. And we got the rivalry ones coming out.
Yeah.
Those might be a freaking tire fire, but merch. That's what's happening.
And I think one of the smart things that the NFL did, because my kid's all about it, is when they did the Nickelodeon thing.
Yes.
Something like that.
Bingo.
You watch a Nickelodeon game and you got slime and crap all over, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't watch this. Hudson ate it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he ate it up.
Next generation.
Yeah.
And eventually, unless anyone go, well, are they gonna be Nickelodeon like slime fans when they're adult? No, they're not. They're gonna be NFL fans when they grow older.
Right.
So it'll come around. That's why you do that stuff.
Yep. All right. Oh, the back just tightened up there. Holy moly, I gotta get in. All right. We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll finish up with some picks. Good conversation. Good one there. Picks coming up after these quick words. Time to wrap it up with some picks. Before that, though, the Express did fall last night to Rochester, and with the win by Duluth, it means Duluth secured the second half championship for their division. But we still got a few more Express games coming up. The Express will be on the road tonight to take it out Rochester. And then the final 3 games will be all at Carson Park. Might happen when we're at Carson Park. It might happen tomorrow. Win number 700 for both Dale Varsho and Vic Cable. They're at 699 right now. So another milestone. I think we're going to see it before the season ends, though. So that'll be another historic milestone for those two. And then we go to 1K, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to get 1,000.
You can get there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So
you can get there.
All right. Let's do some baseball picks here. Usually you get like a getaway game like for Brewers and Braves. It might be during the day, but it's actually at night. Brewers have the off day tomorrow. So, and I think the Braves play Miami, so really not a whole lot of travel. But let's take a look at before that one. Let's make some picks. Baltimore, Philadelphia.
Take the Phillies.
Phillies. Giants, Pittsburgh.
Giants.
Giants. Guardians, Mets.
Take the Mets.
I'll go Mets. Twins, Tigers.
I'll take the Tigers.
Tigers. Reds, who picked up another win against the Cubs yesterday. Sorry, Cubs fans. Brewers are up 4 on you now. Reds, Cubs.
I'll go Reds.
Ooh, I'll go Cubs after just trash talking there. So, Yankees, Rangers.
Interesting, these two teams this season. I'll actually go Yankees.
I'll go Rangers for this one. Blue Jays, Rockies. Let's get that Blue Jays and Brewers World Series trend going here. Come on now. So
baseball has a problem.
Right.
Gosh, I'll go with the Blue Jays.
Yep, I'll go Blue Jays too. Rays versus Angels.
I'll take the Angels.
I'll go Rays. Cardinals, Dodgers.
Take the Dodgers.
Dodgers. Ohtani's starting this game. That's not why I'm picking. I'm just picking Dodgers. Astros, Marlins.
Let's go with the Stros.
Astros. A's versus Washington Nationals.
I'll go with the Nats.
Yeah, I'll go Nats. No, I'll go Athletics. Royals, Boston.
I'll take the Royals.
I'll go Red Sox. White Sox, Seattle Mariners.
Go M's.
I'm going to go Mariners. Padres, Diamondbacks.
Nestor Cortez taking them out for the Padres. I'll go Diamondbacks.
I'm going to go Diamondbacks too. And then, will the Brewers complete the sweep?
I say no. I'll take the Braves on this one.
I'm going to go Braves too, but hopefully I'm wrong.
Hater.
I know. Hey, it's worked. Every time I picked against them, they've won. Double jinx. So there you have it. So by the way, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's really good. I thought I missed a game in there. No. Okay. So that's actually a decent slate for a Wednesday. So all right. Yeah, we talked again, Brewers 6:15. You can catch it on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior. Quintana versus Strider on the mound. Then off day tomorrow for the Brewers before they take on the Mets back in Milwaukee. And this tomorrow and the next Thursday are their last 2 off days until September 2nd.
Wow.
So we got a big-time grueling stretch coming up here. That does include, in the middle of that stretch, those 5 games in 4 days against the Cubbies.
Oh, boy.
So.
All right, well, they can make it happen here. Or not happen. It can go the wrong way pretty fast.
Yep. So, but, yeah, they'll be back in Milwaukee for this Mets and Pirates series. That'll be right after that. But we'll see if they get a bigger lead heading into it beforehand. So, I'm not here for the rest of the week. Just a little bit of a note there. So I'll be back with the full preseason scouting reports. First game in action. I'll be there.
Keep us updated on the Lindsey Pipkins.
I'll be there on Saturday. So
candidates.
Yep. With an eye on the sky and such. So we'll get the breakdowns that everybody wants.
Okay.
3rd and 4th team players.
Nice.
So you got it.
I
don't even always play for the Jets because Fields, had that toe issue. Now Tyrod Taylor's hurt, so I don't even know who's going to be out there for the Jets.
6 stringers and such.
It's like, all right, here we go.
Can they bring a quarterback over from Cleveland?
Hey, they just signed Tyler Huntley, Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yes.
Tyler Huntley,
the
Pro Bowl
quarterback.
Ty
Huntley.
Yep. God.
We can't. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you can kind of say Pro Bowler now, but still, it's not. Doesn't mean what it used to.
Hey, it does not. It does not. But he does have that on his resume, so he
Officially
probably
speaking.
has that jersey up in his man cave, and good for him.
I mean, hey,
Good for Tyler Huntley.
you got named. You got named. Were you supposed to turn it down?
Yeah.
Like,
So
no, I'm not authentic. No, I mean, you take it. You would take it. You were a quarterback, and you're like, yeah, you're going to be an injury fill-in.
I would take it if I was Patrick Mahomes or somebody at that level. After the first few, you're like, yeah, no. But Tyler Huntley, yeah, you'll take it.
Yeah.
That's why I think Mitch Trubisky's got a Pro Bowl under his resume too. So
Right.
there you go.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yep.
Pro Bowler.
All right. DP Dance are up next. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you again next week.